What is happening, everybody? It is June 27th, 2025, and we are here with more best ball content. Today we got a little bit of underdog going. So, if you guys are new here, make sure y'all smash that subscribe button. We are going to get started here in just a little bit. For now, I am kind of uploading a thumbnail. So we have that going for us here. All right. And we'll go ahead and click save. All right. So we're going to get into this best ball drafting here fairly soon. As I said previously, if you guys are new here, make sure y'all like and subscribe. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the show today. I just realized I was muted. All right. We are here and we are live. We're going to go ahead and also make a post real quick. All right. All right. So tonight we are going to be on good old Underdog Fantasy. Tonight's show will be brought to you by Underdog. So if you guys are new to Underdog, we want to make sure that you guys get a good chance here to go ahead and, get yourselves in on the action at Underdog Fantasy. So with that being said, I am going to put my code in the banner below. Let's go ahead and let's see here. Let me get this. Okay. Oh, we want this to be a ticker. All right, there we go. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the show for tonight. Like I said, we got some best ball drafts. We might do some drafters tonight, but for now, we are definitely going to be doing some underdog drafts. So, without further ado, we need to get some poodles done. So you see that there's not very many poodles left that we can do. We've only got 12 entries into the poodle, so we really need to get these poodles in. So that might be the focal point tonight, at the very least, to get those in, because we need to get those in. So. It's only a 20 max entry contest. And as you can see, we are starting in the 12th spot for the first draft tonight. See if there's anybody here that we know. I see a few badges. Not really anybody that I recognize, though. I'm sure a lot of people that I usually draft with are currently filled with this already, since it is a 20 entry contest. So that's kind of the max entry. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I wish that I could play music on YouTube, but unfortunately YouTube does not allow that. So I can't really do that. But I'm also going to go ahead and share this link with you as well. If you guys don't use StreamYard, please go ahead and try it out. It is a really good streaming service, and it allows you to kind of do this, as easily as possible. So you can put comments on the screen like that kind of thing. I think we're gonna move our camera up there. It's kind of the perfect little spot for this board. So, but yeah, we are at 12 in this draft. So let's see how it goes, and we'll kind of go from there. I'm gonna go ahead and do some things here. Like I said, we're kind of ripping underdog drafts tonight. I should have probably updated the thumbnail with underdog, but I didn't. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, it is what it is. We're gonna send this out to a few people, just because, for retweet purposes. Just because it's probably best for the time being. I do not care about that. All right, so first off the board is Chase. Second off the board is Bijan. Third is Jefferson. And fourth is CeeDee Lamb. So Saquon falling all the way to the 5 spot, which honestly I get, but at the same time, I probably am not doing that personally. Kind of not my cup of tea of what I like to do, but I do get the draft a receiver first kind of thing. Seems like Underdog is a platform where people push receivers up quite a bit, so it makes sense. I mean, makes a lot of sense. It's something that, like I said, typically done on Underdog. It's one of the few platforms that does this. So we are going to go ahead and crack it open real quick. And if y'all haven't heard of this before, we are going to go ahead and do this real quick. Yeah, there we go. So we're ripping open a Cheerwine here. If y'all have never heard of Cheerwine, well, shout out Cheerwine. It is a southern thing that, when people go down south, I kind of order it myself to get it here, but it is a really good drink. So never had it, just try it. Nico over Neighbors. I've been seeing the Nico hype kind of go upwards in trend recently. I don't know if there's really any steam behind it, but it seems like people are favoring Nico over these guys. Derrick Henry in the first round is really interesting because I'm just going to double smack Genty Amon-Ra here and get the 2 first-round guys and get kind of the uniqueness lever. Now we got a receiver 1 and a running back 1 of what should be an elite running back and a really good receiver. So the only downfall of this is the bye week 8. You don't try to worry about that too typically much, but it is what it is at the end of the day. I am also going to pull up the cheat sheet I have. I need to do this and send it to myself and just be done with it, but I haven't yet. Let's see. Oh, never mind. That's an Underdog. Let me get this image really quickly. I'm going to explain why it's important for those that don't know why it is important to know this. I know a few of them offhand, but I don't know all of them offhand. So it kind of makes it to where I'm still kind of learning this, but not really. So let's go ahead and send this to myself. Okay. So here's what I'm going to show y'all real quick. This is one of the most important sheets that Underdog posts every year. I'm going to expose my DMs here real quick. Go ahead and open this. So this right here is the most important sheet right here. The bye weeks for weeks 15, 16, and 17 opponents. You want to know who's playing in week 17. Because if you can make a finals in one of these contests, you want to have the best possible chance to win. That is the theory, at least the ongoing theory. I don't necessarily try and true this, but I also think it's something that if you're in between people, it's good to know. So it's good to have it pulled up and good to know kind of what's there as an option. So, yeah. I will say Rashee Rice has been steaming up boards. I think he should be all the way up in this range here, and he's still back here. I'm still taking a lot of Rashee Rice. It's just how I've been playing it. Bucky, Taylor, Ladd, Brock Bowers, McCaffrey. Not taking a receiver in the first 2 rounds is not really a strategy I like to implore, but it's not necessarily a bad bet either. But now you really got to go heavy on your receivers and load up there, because if you fall too far behind, it's not going to be good. Because this Jefferson, Rashee Rice, he has 2 guys that could potentially finish in the top 5 this year in the receivers. And that's tough to match, honestly. And then he gets a third guy. I would not have taken Terry McLaurin here. I definitely would have went T. Higgins, but T. Higgins might have been a little bit more of a common play. But T. Higgins does get a value here, so I probably would have went T. Higgins. T. Higgins is falling quite a bit. I'd be ecstatic to get T. Higgins on this team. Saquon, Taylor, and T. Higgins. But he passes on T. Higgins as well. So Ladd McConkey, Jahmyr Gibbs, T. Higgins, that's pretty solid. I really like this guy's start. You get T. Higgins at pick 30, which is a huge discount in a format like this. Has a lot of wide receiver 1 weeks and is honestly the wide receiver 2 in his offense. I understand that. But at the same time, this is a very elite receiver that is going to have very elite upside. If anything happens to Chase, or, if the season trends like last year, which it should, because they didn't get any better on defense, that's for certain, he's going to get a lot of opportunities. So here's where I like to draft elite quarterback, because if you get an elite quarterback and these two guys are hitting, you're feeling pretty freaking good. I do like to take Josh Allen with these guys. It makes a lot of sense to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click Josh Allen here. Josh Allen's probably one of my most owned. I do think Josh Allen's in for a really good ceiling year this year. MVP kind of caliber year again. Nothing's really changed in his circumstance. I do think, however, for this pick here, Devontae Smith is in my realm. So we're going to go ahead and click Devontae Smith as kind of a uniqueness lever. I do think Devontae Smith is better than, Jameson Williams, Xavier Worthy. I think DJ Moore is where we kind of start having this conversation. Tet, I don't really value Tet this highly this season. I think Ted is a great dynasty asset. I think we're a little bit overzealous on him. Not too terribly much, though. I get that best ball community loves him, and I get that the dynasty community loves him, but I'm not that in love with the guy. I think he's fine for dynasty, and I think he's good for Devy, and I don't think he's going to be exceptionally good this year. I think it's going to take him a little bit, because let's be real, Bryce Young was not that great last year either. He showed some signs, but it wasn't anything extravagant. It wasn't anything to boast about. It wasn't anything to brag about or anything of that nature. So it's kind of difficult for me to sit here and say that Tet is amazing. But I think Tet's a really good prospect. All right, so we got Amarion Hampton, Jaden Daniels, James Cook off the board. James Cook, kind of a little bit of a value, not much. Hampton is moving back up. Hampton's a lot cheaper on drafters than he is on Underdog. I think that's a sharper play, and I think that's a lot of people on Underdog realizing how good Amarion Hampton is and his landing spot that he landed in, how good of a landing spot that was. So I think that's a lot of it. Jalen Hurts off the board. No stacking with Jalen Hurts. He may go Goddard later. We'll see. But taking Jalen Hurts unstacked is not too terribly bad. It's not a bad thing. Not something I'd necessarily, I like to take stacked stuff, because if I take stacked stuff, then that means typically two people were betting on an offense. And it's hard to go unstacked. It is very hard to do. At some point, though, if you get them at a discount, I feel like you're taking them for their points rather than stacking. There's some guys that fall like that. For example, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's a guy who you could probably take like that, who just simply put is there to draft for upside and the point totals itself. And if you don't get a guy that stacks with him, well, at least you get the point total that comes with Joe Burrow. I think that's a very viable thing to do. I don't think it's necessarily my favorite thing to do, but it is a very viable choice. So I try not to fault people if it goes way past ADP, if they're just unstacking, because I think stacking is a very common thing in these. And sometimes I think it's a little bit overvalued to do, but I think it's the best way to build teams overall still. Jaden Daniels, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Brock Bowers, and Christian McCaffrey. This is a very unique way of building a team. Not so sure I like it, though. I do like what he's done here. 4 receivers and a quarterback. Doesn't really have a running back yet, which, I mean, I'm okay with that because I build my teams a lot like that too. Running backs to me are just the least valuable position still to this day. I will sit here and say it till I'm blue in the face. I think running backs, if you can get one or two that are okay, you're good off. You're just fine. Also, you're going to see me pop up my Devy draft quite a bit here. I'll show you guys the roster real quick. We started up another Devy draft. If you guys want to get into Devy drafts, let me know. Drop it in the comments below. We might do another one. Who knows? Bo Nix, Caleb Johnson, CeeDee Lamb, Tet, Trey McBride, Dak Prescott, and we have DJ Lagway at the 703 was my most recent pick. So pretty happy with that start so far. DJ Lagway, one of the best college quarterbacks. I'm not going to get into too deep with DJ Lagway yet, but maybe that's what we should start dropping videos on, is like some college guys that I like, that kind of thing, and kind of back it up and kind of do some research in on that. Because right now I'm trying to learn the game of Devy as well, so maybe we can learn together as a channel, that kind of thing. But I'm kind of learning the game myself. It's a very fun game to try to learn. And I think basketball is a fun game as well. There's a lot of fun games with drafts right now that I feel, football has found a lot of ways to have fun. And I think it's good. I think it's good that we're finding ways to get creative and be able to interact with this. So it's kind of where I'm at. Ken Walker, not really my cup of tea. RJ Harvey, not really my cup of tea either. We're going to go ahead and take Chris Godwin. I think Godwin for me is a really good click. It's one of my favorite clicks on the board. I'm not really taking a lot of Jawan Jennings. Harvey, Ken, I'm not really a fan of the guys here. Jerry Jeudy is another guy I like to click. We're going to go ahead and take Jerry Jeudy here. I think he's a very promising click. I do understand that we reached on a couple of guys here, and this is a unique receiver room. I feel like we have 3 bye week 9s, whatever. I don't really care. We'll figure that out later. That's something that we can solve later, right? Khalil Shakir maybe could have been a reach. I think that's a little too far of a reach. I'm not willing to take Shakir over the guys there for straight points, just to stack. I can stack Kincaid later. I can stack Keon Coleman later. I'm not really going to reach on Khalil Shakir. Khalil Shakir falls on my lap, great. If not, that's okay too. I'm not really too worried about it. So let's go ahead and take a peek here at our sheet. We have Vegas and the Giants. We don't really have that natural stack. We have the Lions and the Vikings. I know that one off the top. Pittsburgh, Rams. We didn't really get any of those. Eagles, Bills. I know we have that correlation kind of going as well already with Devontae and Josh Allen. So we kind of have that correlated up as well. Tampa Bay and Miami. I don't have that correlated. I'm pretty sure it's Tampa Bay and Miami. Yep. Tampa Bay and Miami at Miami. So it's going to be a warm game. Pretty good environment there. Hopefully Chris Godwin's bounced fully back by then. And we're getting some wide receiver 1 production out of him. It's kind of the hope, honestly. And I don't think it's out of his realm of possibilities. I mean, he's already working his way back. He's already showing signs that he's working his way back. And when he got that injury, immediately he looked over and said, let's get to work. I mean, this is a guy who, great locker room guy, hard worker, doesn't take anything for granted. And I like to have those kinds of guys. And those are kinds of guys that just are winners. And, it makes a lot of sense. And I agree with his career. I mean, his career's been really good in Tampa Bay. I get it. Igbuka's there now. I get it. McMillan had a good year, but they are not no Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin did sign a 3-year deal with the Buccaneers as well. So that is another thing that's very promising to me, is they've given him a somewhat long-term contract, and that was after his injury. So I understand that there is concern with Chris Godwin. I just think the team has shown that they've bought in along with him. So they're here for the long haul with him as well. And he wanted to be a Buck. He turned down a bigger deal with the Patriots to stay as a Buccaneer. So he wants to be here. He likes to be there. And I think it's a good environment for him. I think that there's no really wrong here. Now, if Shakir falls 7 or 8 picks, I'll be shocked. I don't think he will. So we're probably not going to get Shakir, which is fine. I'd be okay with Downs. I'd be okay with Pittman. I'd be okay. Really, I'm not really taking Igbuka a lot. I'm okay with reaching a little bit on Baker to pair up with Godwin, do something like that. Maybe we get Shakir, maybe we don't. Who knows? Laporta, I think, is a fine pick. Montgomery is a fine pick. There's a lot of decent picks here that I think work. I think Laporta is one of my favorite best ball picks right now just because of how cheap he is. Like, getting him in the 7-8 turn is just ridiculous. Getting him this late for a guy who could potentially be up there with McBride and Bowers yet again next year, I just, I think it's a great value. Everybody misses how bad he started, but he ended the season off just how he started his rookie year, and I think that's a very promising sign. Understand the coaching staff has changed, so there has been some things change, but all in all, I think this is an extremely good value to take Laporta and get Josh Downs here. Not really a big Pollard guy. I think Baker's another guy you could take here. We don't really need Baker, though. We've already taken our quarterback. We're going to go ahead and take Josh Downs, add to our receiver room that's already really, really good. So we have Josh Allen, Ashton Genty, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Smith, Chris Godwin, Jerry Jeudy, and Josh Downs with Sam Laporta. Not a bad-looking room. Like I said, we could get a Minnesota piece probably a little bit later. Aaron Jones, maybe. Jordan Mason. Aaron Jones is already off the board. Never mind, I lied. I don't know that there's any Minnesota piece I can necessarily get or afford to get on the other side of that game, which is fine. Like I said, at the end of the day, that's kind of more so it's kind of like a tiebreaker, so to speak, for me. It's not really like a dead set, okay, I need to get guys from this team, because I drafted these guys. That's not really exactly what that means to me. Freiermuth could be a tight end that I get to opposite Jerry Jeudy. Something to that nature is something that could easily be done. Something small like that where you're still getting good value on a guy, but he has game correlation up with him as well. There's reasons that I'm taking him for the game. Pittsburgh versus Browns, that doesn't seem like a high-scoring game, but maybe it's a Jeudy Freiermuth game and you're just sitting there collecting all that. Could be. You never know. That's why we play the game of best ball. You just never know. We're still 16 picks away. We'll go ahead and look at the board. I don't love having this pick because it's kind of hard to talk about when you do have this pick. So team 1, we have Chase, Marvin Harrison, Chase Brown, Jameson Williams, Xavier Worthy, Quinshon Judkins, DeAndre Swift, Bijan, Trey McBride, Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, Rome Odunze, Darnell Mooney, Kyler Murray. Next team, we have Jefferson, Rice, McLaurin, Hurts, Sutton, Connor, Caleb, Jordan Mason. Not a bad squad here at 3. I kind of like that squad. CeeDee Lamb, Bucky Irving, Tyreek Hill, George Kittle, Tyreek, CeeDee, and Bucky's pretty fun, along with Kittle. Pickens is really a good pick. Travion Henderson, Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk. I don't like taking doubles here because I think they're kind of similar guys as far as their role within their offense. Not really huge on doing that, but if you're buying the 49ers offense, why not? Saquon, JT, Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf, Travis Hunter, RJ Harvey, Matthew Golden. A lot of rookies in this one, and Mahomes. A lot of rookies in that one that I'm not really huge on. He has Mahomes naked. Maybe he's trying to go Mahomes Kelsey, which is probably a pretty common stack. Jahmyr Gibbs, Vlad McConkey, T. Higgins, James Cook, Jalen Waddle, Joe Burrow, Stephon Diggs, TJ Hawkinson. Pretty solid. You have Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, with Vlad McConkey. Shit. Christian McCaffrey, Brock Bowers, Jackson Smith, Jigba, Jaden Daniels, Zay Flowers, Deebo Samuel, Jaden Reed, Brian Robinson Jr. Not a big fan of that team at all. Not really a huge fan. Puka Nacua, A.J. Brown, Josh Jacobs, Amarion Hampton, Chuba Hubbard, Jacoby Myers, Khalil Shakir, Tony Pollard. It's okay. I'm okay with that team. It's fine. Nico, Devon Achane, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Joe Mixon, Ken Walker, David Montgomery, Baker Mayfield rounding it out there. Baker and Mike Evans paired up. Not bad. Doesn't have any. Oh, he has Miami week 17 correlation with Achane. Pretty good. Solid overall. Neighbors, Drake, Kyron, Tet, Kamara, Olave, Pacheco, Cooper Kupp. It's buying the Saints offense, which it's not a good bet, probably, but it is what it is. Derrick Henry, Brian Thomas, Breece Hall, Lamar Jackson, Jordan Addison, Jawan Jennings, Aaron Jones, Emeka Egbuka, and then my squad. which we already know. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, some decent squads. I'd say 3 is probably my favorite squad. He took Coleman, which kind of sucks for me, but it is what it is. Who do we want as our RB2? Because we need to solve that. I think we could go Najee, Scadaboo. I think Sharbs is probably my favorite pick. We're gonna go Sharbs. My tight end 2. I don't really need a tight end 2. I kind of need a QB 2. So we're gonna go ahead and take Goff and be done at quarterback. Because we do have 2 of his weapons, and I think this is a good enough room so we can take Allen Goff. I think this is pretty common to do, so I think that's good. At quarterback, we don't really need to draft anymore. I feel like we already got our guys. Tight end, we might need. We're gonna need one more. Receiver room, I like our receiver room. Running backs, we're gonna have to load up. We're gonna have to load up on quite a few running backs that are kind of uncomfortable to load up on, but I think could really get into elite situations if something bad happens. So it's kind of where I'm at. If you guys are new here, make sure y'all drop a like as well. It helps my videos out and helps me continue to be able to put on shows. So helps me out tremendously. JJ McCarthy at 110. Is he really shot up this high? He's still at a 128 ADP. So he just took a little bit of a reach on him because he's got Addison. Does he have Hawkinson too? Nope, he has no Hawkinson. So he just has Addison, so he takes a little bit of a reach here. Not necessarily something I would do. I know JJ get a lot of steam. Not really something that I'm looking to do, but sometimes beggars can't be choosers. So luckily for me too, Josh Allen's one of those guys that naked makes a lot of sense just because of his rushing upside. I do think Kincaid is a fun pick where you just pair up the guys with their tight ends and move along. And obviously with Goff, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown too. So it still makes a lot of sense to do that as well. Unfortunately, looks like my dynasty draft is paused for the night. Or my Devy draft, I should say. This is the other Devy draft. I'm going to see if I'm up on the clock yet, which I'm not. So I have Hurts, Kamara, Aaron Jones, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Tucker Kraft, Chris Olave, Brandon Ayuk, Tyreek Hill, Brock Purdy. And then we have DJ Lagway yet again, Lenoris Sellers, Mark Andrews. I'm drawing a total blank on who this one is. Oh, Jesus. Who am I? Who am I missing here? I got to scroll up and see. I forget. Oh, here we go. Darius Taylor is that kicker. Terrence Ferguson, Darnell Mooney, Pat Bryant, Katron Allen, Jalen Wright, Hollywood Brown, Le'Veon Moss. That would be dude from IU. What is his name? I'm drawing a total blank on what his name is. But anyways, receiver from IU, Algier, Ertz, Roshan Johnson, and Kirk Cousins. Kind of taking some older guys here. Just to kind of get some maybe value sucked out of them a little bit. If you guys want, we could do a Devy kind of breakdown. Let's see. Draft room, like I said, I don't know that this is going to get any further tonight, but we'll see. This guy's team makes absolutely no sense if that is actually his team. I'm seeing if that's actually his team because, I would never draft this way. And it is. Okay. So he has 4 running backs in Jefferson with Jared Goff. Yeah, that's definitely not a team that I would be looking to do, but what do I know? Everybody has their own strategies, I guess. That's what the counter is for that. I just would never do that personally. In a startup, it's not a very good strategy in my opinion. But like I said, everybody has their own thing that they do, and we just keep it moving. Y'all got the same eyes, y'all got the same lips. Probably like this, baby, where'd that girl go? Now she hates me. Got the same eyes, y'all got the same lips. I'm sorry, like this. All right. So we're coming up here on the clock. Hopefully we get Kincaid. I think we should easily get Kincaid with the Titans on the board. Kind of as a pretty fallback option here. It's pretty easy click for me. We got to figure out who our other click is, though. I think Javonte's a decent click. I think Tajay Spears is a decent click. Benson's a pretty fun click as well. A lot of good clicks here. So we're going to go Kincaid first, and we'll probably do Tajay Spears. I think Tajay Spears has a lot more chance to be involved in his offense than Javonte does by end of season. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little crazy. I just don't think Javonte Williams is all that good either. So it's coming from a Denver fan also, by the way. So, if I'm saying it feels kind of true. Watched him enough to know like what his weaknesses are, what his strengths are, and it's just not really something I want to be a part of. So it's kind of where I'm at with it. And we get Titans, which the Titans, I believe, play New Orleans that final week. I'm cool with that. No. There we go. But, yeah. Let's go ahead and get the board out here. Let them kind of do what they do. There we go. But, we'll rip a couple drafts tonight, probably. I don't know how long we're going to stay live for. But like I said, if you guys want to use the code at the bottom there, you can for Underdog. I also have a code for Drafters. It's in the description as well. So if you guys want to use that for Drafters as well, be my guest. It's a very good code. So they're both pretty good codes. They both have their value. So it's really nice. I did enter a slow draft on Drafters, and it's a horrible team. I have Naked Burrow because I got him at a value. CeeDee Lamb, Cortland Sutton at a value, Diggs, Bowers, McBride, and Kittle got autoed. So I don't love that, but I have the elite tight end room. You could still make it decent, but your RB1 is going to be Brian Robinson. Don't love that. And your wide receiver room is pretty thin as well. So it's like you really can't take anybody else. There's going to be a week where those three tight ends kind of pop off and one of them's not going to be able to hit my lineup. So that's rough. But it is what it is. There's only so much you can do sometimes. You got to bet that B-Rob's going to be the guy and keep it moving. So there's only so much you can do sometimes in slow drafts when you accidentally click them and didn't realize you clicked them. So, but yeah, look at this guy over here. This guy, 4 receivers, Chase Brown, Judkins, went a lot of running backs. I get it. Not my favorite thing to do, but he did take 3 quarterbacks, so that's interesting. There's a lot of running backs. Only has 4 receivers, though. Don't love the 4 receiver thing. I think you can get by with it, but I don't love it. Like I said, I think receivers are some of the most important positions in Dynasty. In best ball, they're probably the most important position in best ball in my eyes. And only having 4 of them through the first 13 rounds feels really like a bad idea, especially when they're not 4 like super duper elites. So, yeah, that feels a little bit wrong to me, but maybe I just don't know anything. Again, everybody has their own cup of tea. I'm just here soaking up the value. I'm kind of making sure I get guys in the queue that I like, that I want to make sure that I target because they're good handcuffs. They make a lot of sense. And they're like some of the elite handcuffs that I like. And they could be potential RB1s if their guy goes down. So there's weeks where they could definitely spike, which is nice. That's kind of what we need with this team especially. because I think we can live with those 5 receivers and be fine for a while. Our quarterback room's done. Our tight end room's pretty well done. We need running backs desperately. It's Hershey. It's on the clock. Let's see who Hershey takes. Bryce Young off the board. Takes his backup quarterback there. Let's see. See, like, he's got 2 really good running backs and Aaron Jones. Like, he doesn't really need it. We're going to go ahead and do Jaden Blue. And we're going to double tap here and go Roshan. I'll make sure we get him. Go ahead and get these guys that have the opportunity to do something with their snaps and maybe have a potential to earn more, depending on their role. I think Roshan is one of those guys that has a potential to be, Gibbs-esque or maybe even Montgomery-esque. I don't really know. Montgomery probably makes a little more sense for him just because Swift is kind of more so the Gibbs-esque kind of role for that Bears offense. For Ben Johnson, I do think it makes a lot of sense. We said we might consider Freiermuth. We didn't get him, obviously. I'm okay with not getting Freiermuth here. We needed to smash running back here. We did. We got back up to 5, so we're pretty even all the way around here. But like I said, our running back crew needs a lot more work than our receiver crew does. I think if we take one more wide out, we should be done there. Bryant could be that guy. We need a guy with, like, boom potential. Noel's another good guy. Alec Pierce is a very good guy. Austin, Thornton, Keenan as a last guy. I think Keenan, once he signs, shoots up 50 picks. And we see him to start going in the 150s. Pat Bryant, Romeo Dobbs, that kind. Wherever he ends up landing, I think we see that potentially as a range of outcomes for him. I've been clicking him a lot. There's no way this guy doesn't get signed. I'm just going to be real. After the last season he displayed, there's absolutely no way this guy does not get signed. 744 yards, 121 targets, 70 catches, and 7 touchdowns. There's just no way. He still has some shimmy to his game. Keenan Allen news. I feel like there's a lot. There's a lot to his game. And if he returns to the Chargers, I don't love the fit, but I do think it's a decent fit for him. The Dolphins would be really fun. If he goes to the Dolphins with Tyreek and Waddle and is kind of that slot guy for them, that'd be fun. That'd be really fun. That'd be a fun fit for him. Only has 3 teams he's open to joining. Chicago or LA. Well, LA's off the table. And Chicago's off the table. So he's not getting what he wants there. Regardless. So, like I said, I still think he gets signed. I just don't know where. Obviously, the Steelers are obviously like the option where you just sit here and you're like, that could be an option because they are looking for a second weapon. And Keenan could be that. I wouldn't love that, obviously. I don't think anybody would. But it is something in the range of outcomes that could be there. It's a risk I'm willing to take. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, even if he does end up in Pittsburgh, he's better than Calvin Austin. He's better than Roman Wilson, I would say. So he's already the number 2 option there. But how good is Aaron Rodgers? How much are they going to actually let Aaron Rodgers sling the ball? That's a question that I've had for quite some time that I really don't know the answer to. I think it could be that offense is going to be interesting, to say the least. I don't think it's going to be an exceptionally good offense, but I don't think it's going to be a bad one either. I definitely think Arthur Smith is a run-heavy coach. We all know that. So I do think that Aaron Rodgers isn't going to get his stats the way that most people think. I think he's definitely going to be very conservative when it comes to Rodgers. We've seen Rodgers be a gunslinger all his career for the most part, and he's 41 years old now. So I just don't see that being the case. I could see this number being like closer to 3,200, and 28 passing touchdowns is just not happening. Simply put, they have 2 good running backs to do that. It's just not happening, to be honest. Breece Hall should have been that good. I just don't see 28. I don't know. Maybe it is in his range of outcomes. I don't know. I'm not buying that, but I think you could in theory buy it. I'm just not. Justice Hill has some standalone value. I feel like if we go 2 running backs here with Giddens, or we already took Jaden Blue, so we're not going to do that. Shipley's a league winner. If something happens to Saquon, Shipley is a guy who could be a winner for us on this team. And I firmly believe that. We get 7 guys here that I feel like, honestly, something happens to their main guy, or their main guy just has a bad week. I feel like they have guys here that can have a role. Tajay Spears is a guy who can have a role. Charbonnet is a guy who can have a role. Jaden Blue is definitely a guy who can have a role. Roshan Johnson can have a role. Justice Hill, we've seen Justice Hill outperform Derrick Henry in games before. And those are losing game scripts, so I get they're few and far between. But if a losing game script, if Baltimore even has a slightly worse season than last year, we see Derrick Henry not getting the field as much, and we see Justice Hill on the field more when they're trailing. Or if they're in closer games and they need to make game-winning drives happen, Justice Hill is on the field. Derrick Henry's not on the field. So I think that's a big pickup for us. Shipley is a bet against a direct bet against Saquon staying healthy this year. That's what he is. Shipley could be a nothing pick. Genuinely, he could be an absolute 0 for us. You never know. But I don't think he's a 0. I truly do not feel like he is a 0. I feel like with what he showed last year, I feel like he's not a 0. I don't know that they give Saquon that much work again. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves, right? Let's look at this real quick. I want to show this. Saquon, 345 touches, 247 touches in 23, 300 touches again in 22. This guy has a lot of tread on the tracks. A lot of tread. And the fact that he did what he did last season, unbelievable, by the way. Just the repetitiveness of it is just not likely. It's not likely to happen again. And if you're expecting it to happen again, then you're just out of your mind. I don't see that happening. I do, top 5 running back is definitely in his range of outcomes if he could stay healthy throughout the whole year. You know how hard it is to stay healthy as a running back through a whole year again? It's tough. It's tough. Had literally 0 Saquon last year and going to run it back. I mean, I was kind of right there with you. I didn't have a lot of Saquon last year. I did have enough to where it made me dangerous, but I was kind of out on Saquon. Maybe bad process by me by saying, oh, you go into the Eagles where A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, man, how many mouths are there to feed in this offense? Is he going to be really the primary one? The answer should have been yes to that question. I thought A.J. Brown was a better player than him. I thought Jalen Hurts was a better thrower. I was wrong, And at the end of the day, it is what it is. And Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback. Everybody says he's a league average quarterback. I disagree with that. I think he has more than proven himself to be an elite quarterback by this point in this year. I think he's done more than prove that. I'm going to go ahead and do this as well. I like this view a little bit better. But yeah, I think he's done more than prove it, honestly, by this point. A.J. Brown is a guy, or not A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts is a guy that you either love him or you hate him. And I can get both sides of it because I was on the side of hate at one point. I don't really see him being that bad. I think if we take Slayton here as our final receiver, that's good. 6 receivers with this group, I'm okay with. I like Downs a lot. I like Judy a lot. I like Godwin, Smith, and Amon-Ra. Those are some really solid guys. Slayton can have some boom weeks, play for us every now and then. I do think that's a really solid pick. I think we need one more RB to really top this off. And I want it to be a really boring running back. And I know it's going to be a not so popular pick. But I need somebody like this that's going to be able to put points on the board. Kareem Hunt is another guy that I feel like can put points on the board and will put points on the board. So we're going to pick Kareem Hunt, and we're going to go Darius Slayton. And we build the infamous 2-8-6-2 build. Philly also shouldn't be able to front run every game like last year. Tough schedule. Agreed. And the thing about Philly is it's so hard to not say that team is the favorites next year in the NFC. But it's like there's so many teams in the NFC. I felt like last season the NFC was just a crapshoot of who came out of it. Like the Lions are an extremely good team that were extremely unlucky last year. The Vikings are an extremely underrated team. That team is going to go as far as JJ can go, which we'll see. We'll see what JJ can do this year. Those are two really good teams. The Packers are a really good team. The Eagles, once again, very good team. There's just so many good teams in the NFC that, like, it feels like, I don't want to say they got lucky because they didn't, but even the Falcons to me this year, the Falcons are a very interesting team because they've had the defense to do it, right? They've always had the defense. It's just been the offense. If Penix can be a guy who could take care of the football, that team is extremely dangerous. I think a lot of people aren't giving them the credit that they deserve. What turn is this? I'll hop in. This is the Poodle, the $7 Poodle. It's a $20 or $7 per entry. The Poodle. It's this one. But I appreciate you stopping by, DS. I appreciate you hanging out. If you're new here, we're gonna be trying to stream a lot more than I have been on YouTube, especially. I've noticed that a lot of the content that is consumed for best ball is on YouTube. I consume a lot of content myself. I'm kind of heavily involved. I do a lot of YouTube, or not really YouTube, but Twitch streams. So if you've never heard of Twitch, I will go ahead and show you this real quick. Crap, no, back to Twitch. Let me go to my channel. I just want to go ahead and just put this out there. Like, I do a lot of Twitch streams as far as drafts go, and just a lot of my streaming is on Twitch. I'm going to try to start doing a little bit more on YouTube. So if you guys haven't already, you could go drop a follow on the Twitch. It's PrimeTimeKG, same basically as my YouTube. But I rip a lot of drafts on there too. And I really need to get better about going to YouTube and doing this, because I feel like the audience is here on YouTube. And that's my bad. You know, I mean, I cover quite a bit of stuff. I do best ball. I do Devy, which this is a Devy league. If you're not familiar with what Devy is, we're drafting college players, and it's a dynasty league. So it's like dynasty plus college, basically. I do dynasty content. I try to do a lot of different things. So I try to cover a lot of different realms under this channel. So I talk a lot of football also. So there's that. Justin Jefferson off the board. Bijan Chase off the board. I am going to go ahead and, as I was talking against Saquon staying healthy, I'm going to keep following that bet. I'm not a huge CeeDee Lamb guy. So it's kind of hard for me to do this. No, we're not betting against it. I prefer Saquon to CeeDee. I do. It's just, I'd rather have Saquon than CeeDee. I think by a points per game basis, Saquon's better. So we'll see. And at 11, pick 11. Nice name. That is an insane name. That is just an insane name. That's all I can say to that. We will see what DS does. At pick 11. They won't let me change it. Yeah, I wanted to change my name too, to more so my YouTube channel. But I asked, and they said since I already had a badge, I couldn't. And I was like, damn, that sucks. Because that's really, I'd like it to say PrimeTimeKG. And then put like underscore YT or something like that. That'd be realistically what I want. But I couldn't they wouldn't let me change it. So I was kind of sad about that. I'm surprised they didn't let you, though, because you don't have a badge. So that kind of surprised me. They told me it was because I had a badge. They wouldn't let me change it. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Neighbors Genty. Now that, my friend, is a very fun start. Neighbors Genty. If you can get that kind of a start, Neighbors, Lad, and like somebody on Twitter was posting Neighbors, Lad, and JSN. That'd be a freaking awesome start. I feel like taking Saquon Barkley first really hinders how I like to like draft, because I do like to take receivers a lot, heavy and often. I am an underdog drafter at heart, so I do apologize if I sound a little bit under the weather. My nose is kind of runny. I don't know why, but it is what it is. So we have Brian Thomas, Nico Collins. Like that start. Pretty fun start at receiver. Christian McCaffrey, Devon Achane. See, like this start here could be extremely fun. I genuinely think it could be. I just am not a McCaffrey guy. I'm not touching him with the 10-foot pole. Sorry if I'm slow. No, you're good. You're good. You're good, DS. You're good. You're good. You're multi-tabling. Oh, okay. Okay. I've done that a few times. I used to do that. Lad McConkey getting here. Oh, that's nice. Little Lad McConkey, Saquon Barkley. Kind of like that. Rashee Rice off the board. Picking at 1 and 11, so not so bad. Picking at 1 is a experience. We'll put it that way. Because like it feels like McBride and Marv are always sitting there looking at you in the face, and it seems like everybody's picking it. And I don't love that. I think Marv is only up this high because of the week 17 correlation with the Bengals. There's no way Marvin Harrison is ahead of Terry, JSN, Garrett Wilson naturally, in my opinion. There's no way. I refuse to believe that. Big Jackson Smith and Jigba. Love me some JSN. JSN's still really, really, really young, by the way. For those that don't know. Because the other day I was thinking he was like 24, 25. Nope, this guy is still 22, 23 years old. Just turned 23, by the way. So, yeah. Kind of thought he was like 24, 25, getting to that age. Nope, he's not even close. Not even remotely close. It feels like he's been in the NFL forever, and he has not been in the NFL forever. It's only been 2 years. So maybe that's a good thing. It's a good thing. For dynasty purpose, it's a very good thing. Josh Allen, Amon-Ra St. Brown, AJ Brown. That's fun. That's really fun. Nico BTJ and Lamar Jackson. Yeah, I think getting a running back, or not running back, an elite quarterback with 2 elite receivers, just extreme upside if you can hit the running backs. It's harder to hit the running backs, though. It truly is. It is hard to hit running backs. There's a lot of good ones, though. That's the positives. There's a lot of good ones, and there's a lot of guys who have partial roles. Breece Hall off the board. I'm not a big Breece Hall guy, but I can see the outcome where, he is a good guy to have. I haven't been taking a lot of Breece Hall personally. Just my personal thing. I'm not really a huge Breece guy. I think he's fine though. Like for where he's going, it's fine. It is an RB1 at the end of the day, but not like my biggest proponent. Not a guy I love. We'll put it that way. DJ Moore off the board. Drake, Puka, and Chase Brown. Not a bad little team here. Got a little Chase Brown slide here, which is nice. Little Marvin slide. That's pretty good. See, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like the Marvin Harrison slide should be real. Like getting Marvin Harrison about here is where it should happen. I hate Breece, but panicked. I was going to do double elite QB with Jaden. I'm okay with that too. I mean, Jaden's fun. I think I'm going to continue to buy the Eagles offense here. I am a big proponent for the Eagles. You'll find that pretty quickly. Devontae Smith has been one of my most clicked guys this season. I'm not a big dynasty advocate for Devontae Smith. I do, however, think that Devontae Smith is a very good best ball click. Not too long ago, we were having this guy go in the 2-3 turn, and now we have him mid fourth. A year later, we had him going here last year, but having him going almost into fourth round, almost 4-5 turn, to me is insane. It's absolutely blasphemy. He is the most talented receiver in that range. He's better than Jameson Williams. Sorry, he is. He's better than Tet McMillan. He's better than DK Metcalf. He's better than Worthy. Moore is kind of where I start having the argument in my eyes. Moore is kind of where I draw the line. I think he's better than those guys. Sutton, I think, is better than those guys too. So that's an argument for another day. As a Denver fan, I'm not going to get into the biasness of that, but I do think that you can make that case. And we're going to go ahead and buy Jalen Hurts here as well. So we have Jalen Hurts, Saquon, Devontae Smith. We're buying into that Eagles offense. We have Ladd McConkey, Jackson Smith, and Jigba both primed for big years this year with target shares. I do think these guys are both 25% plus target shareholders in their offense, their passing offenses, respectively. I do think Justin Herbert's in for a better year this year. I do understand Greg Roman is the offensive guy there. And I do understand he is a run-first coordinator. I understand all of the above. I just think Ladd McConkey was so good last season that it's just undeniable that this guy is going to be good again. And I do think that Justin Herbert is a very talented quarterback. I've always thought that. Smith and Jigba is a little bit rockier, we'll say. Not a good line for Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold's going to have to perform well enough to keep the job. I think he will. I don't know how the Seahawks offense works well, but if Cooper Kupp has a good season left in him, I could see it working. Jackson Smith and Jigba was not horrible on the outside. Cooper Kupp almost more than definitely has to play in the slot, I think. Maybe I'm wrong with that statement. Maybe I could be. But I don't see any way around it to where he's not playing in the slot this season. So Jackson Smith and Jigba moves outside, which I think he's more than capable of doing. So we'll see. Calvin Ridley, that's probably my favorite pick you've taken so far. I'm a huge Calvin Ridley guy on this channel. I'm not shy about it either. I think Calvin Ridley should be up there with Courtland Sutton, Devontae Smith. And instead, he's down here almost a round and a half later. I think Calvin Ridley is a guy that I extremely like. I have a lot of them. Before my next pick here, I want to see something real quick. I want to see my exposures because I'm just curious. I'm just curious where I sit because I was a big Ayuk guy. I was steaming Ayuk and Rice. Like I said, Keenan Allen is another guy that I bought a lot of. Xavier Worthy, I think one of these two Kansas City guys is going to be elite. And I want to have both of them. So Hollywood Brown, another guy. I think they're all going to be good. I think they're all going to be serviceable at where they're at ADP. I just think Mahomes is a really good quarterback to have this year. My exposures don't really show that because they're flat. Devontae Smith, I need to get more of him. I've been clicking a lot more of him. We'll look at those after this draft. Got to see where my exposures are, but that was a little sneak glimpse into that. Let's see. Alvin Kamara. I like Alvin Kamara. He's one of my guys too. I like him. I think he's extremely underrated. Going into his age 30 season, hasn't really showed any signs of slowing down. Good news with Alvin Kamara is he's a guy that really isn't like a super duper injury kind of guy with the way he plays. So that's really nice. That's a really good pick there. Jerry Jeudy's still on the board. I like Jerry Jeudy quite a bit over these guys. Bo Nix, 68. That's an extreme reach. Okay. We're just going to act like that did not happen. Jerry Jeudy off the board for yours truly. Would have taken RJ if I didn't have Brees, but wanted some safety with Kamara. Here's the thing with RJ that, like, I don't love, and I think it's just his profile in general. I'm not a fan of him. I'm not. And I hate to be that way because I am a Broncos fan. And I do trust Sean Payton quite a bit because I didn't like the Bo Nix pick either, but Bo Nix ended up panning out. But I'm not a big Harvey fan. I just think we could have done better at running back than Harvey, and instead we took Harvey early. I'm not sure. I know that was Liam Cohen's guy as well, so it makes me like kind of optimistic about it too. I I don't know. I don't know if I could support that pick. We'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Because if I'm wrong, as a Denver fan, I'm going to be happy. But if I'm right, well, fool me once with Bo Nix, fool me twice, well, and I'm just an idiot. So, but let's be real. All of us who draft fantasy drafts are mostly idiots most of the time. Anyways, Caleb Johnson, we're taking Caleb. I wanted Hampton so bad. I really wanted Hampton. I'm right there with you. I wanted Hampton or Ibuka. I wanted one or the other. And they ended up going with another secondary piece, which I felt like they did not need whatsoever. And it hurt. It hurt for a while. I'm not going to lie. I did not like that pick at all. I know the value was there. I understand the value was there, but it's not a need for us. It wasn't something that we looked at and said, wow, this really makes us a better team. It just makes our defense better, which was already a top 3 defense in the NFL. And at the end of the day, when you're already top 3 in something, it's kind of hard to sit here and be like, wow, we really just got a ton better. Now, I do appreciate the fact that they did go after some offensive pieces, and they tried. They worked with what they could. Like I said, Harvey is okay to me. He'll be fine, I think, for a year or two. I don't think he's a long-term solution. I do think he's a very short-term solution. But Harvey's going to be okay. Evan Ingram, I love the Evan Ingram signing. Absolutely was in love with it. Mims took some steps forward towards the end of the season last year. And let's not forget that Marvin Mims only played like 50% of the snaps last year. Let's just not forget that happened, because that guy is a really good receiver. Was I a huge fan of him at first? No, I wasn't. But I think he's proven that he can be a guy that's viable in the offense and be a field stretcher. Troy Franklin was another guy last year that showed up in big spots. Pat Bryant is a guy that I think can be something. I'm not drafting him like he is something, but could be. Who's going to be the Broncos pass catcher we need? I mean, the obvious answer is Sutton. I'm not really saying much by saying that, but I think Sutton, if I had to choose somebody that's not, Sutton, I'm probably going to choose either Franklin or Pat because they're the cheapest. Mims, in my opinion, is pretty pricey, to say the least. I'd rather click Hollywood Brown. I think I would probably click Pat Bryant as it stands, probably more. I also really like Romeo Doubs. So those are the two guys I've been clicking. If you want more upside, it's the Bryant click. If you want a guy that's going to play on the field and you need a guy that's out there and your receiver room's kind of thin, Romeo Doubs is going to be out there. So that's kind of how I distinguish the two. A last round click of Troy Franklin, if you have Bo Nix, I don't think it's a bad click. I think it's a pretty decent click. Troy Franklin is not a bad receiver by any means. Oh, crap. I'm on the clock. Okay. I was definitely not prepared. I think we're going to go Michael Pittman. Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. As a guy from Indiana, I feel like I'm not going to say confidently say that because that's not true. But Daniel Jones made Wan'Dale Robinson get peppered with 140 targets just a year ago. And let me tell you something. Wan'Dale Robinson did not do anything with those targets. Michael Pittman Jr. is a much better receiver than Wan'Dale Robinson. That's the Josh Downs comp that I'm referring to. Now, Malik Neighbors. Michael Pittman is no Malik Neighbors. On the other hand, Michael Pittman is also very good. I think Daniel Jones can give him 100-plus targets this year. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that Michael Pittman Jr. is the best receiver in the Colts offense. I don't think that's out of the realm yet. Is it? Do I think it is likely? No. By any means, no. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. And I do think that Josh Downs is the guy that's going to take the leaps forward this year. But that's kind of where I'm at. Etienne, another guy that was down in the dust after the draft. And now we've had 2 reports come out reaffirming that Etienne is the lead guy in Jacksonville. I'm excited to see this fit with Liam Cohen. I truly am. He's the closest Bucky Irving thing that he has. Bashal Tutin was getting a lot of steam there for a while. I understood the steam. I'm just not a huge fan of it. Very one-direction runner. He's fast. Don't get me wrong. But he doesn't really run between the tackles that well. He's a lot of what Etienne is. And the same problems that Etienne has, Bashal Tutin has. And Etienne's just a better runner. So that pick to me was like if Etienne just is obviously horrible, then we throw in Tutin. If he's not horrible, which I don't think Etienne is horrible, but if he's not horrible, that's Etienne's job to lose. I think at this point. And I'm not so sure there's really any debating that either. The way Liam Cohen has talked him up, I don't see that being the case to where he loses his job. Let's see. Go ahead and get some tight ends queued up here. Get some guys queued up that I like. Yeah, all right. So we got Sharbs off the board. Not a bad little draft here. Little Mandrews, Lamar stack. I hope this isn't the last year of Mandrews being good. I really do. I hope it's not. I don't think it will be, but it very well could be. He's a very touchdown-dependent tight end now. But, I mean, a lot of tight ends are very touchdown-dependent. So, it's tough. Sutton is overpriced. I just read that Sutton is overpriced. Sutton, I don't know that he's overpriced. I don't know if he's, what's the word? Consistent enough to be up there. I'm not so sure his spike weeks are like huge. He's a very good floor play. Ceiling play, I don't know how good his ceiling is. That's the problem with Sutton, is I don't know ceiling-wise what he is exactly. I like Likely better, but don't have enough Andrews. Yeah, I mean, Likely I think is more from a dynasty perspective. I think Likely is definitely a next year play. I don't see Andrews being back, obviously, after this year. The contract's just too substantial. So Sutton's best season of his career is not a 4-5 turn guy. Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I still think he's better than DK. I mean, realistically speaking, are you taking Cortland Sutton or DK Metcalf this year? Like, I think that's a question you really genuinely have to ask yourself. And if you don't feel good about what you're saying, then it's like, I personally am taking Sutton over DK. I'm not a DK fan. DK hasn't showed us anything in years. Literally, years. DK has just not been... I mean, look at DK. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he has not shown us... Like, this is a Sutton season right here. Honestly. Like, let's be real. Sutton season and DK season are very similar. I get it, but this is the first year Sutton's had a quarterback. If Rodgers has anything left, he will pepper DK. That's the thing. I don't think Rodgers has anything left. He can go out there and sling it if he wants. I mean, that's fine, but I'm not sure how much he has left in the tank. Oh, I hate that I'm doing this. They're similar but less mouths to feed in Pittsburgh. Is it though? Is it really less? Freiermuth and Ingram. I'm not going to say they're similar. I think Ingram's a little better. Sutton and DK. I think Sutton's a little better. Bo Nix or Aaron Rodgers. I'd take Bo Nix right now. Running back wise, I think that Pittsburgh has a beat running back wise. Warren and Caleb Johnson. I think Pittsburgh has them beat over Harvey and J.K. Dobbins. It's close. It's close. I would take Pittsburgh's room and the coaching staff. Arthur Smith is a guy who runs the football. He does not throw the ball hardly at all. I I hate the Steelers for that reason. And the Steelers don't find themselves in game scripts where they have to throw 40 times a lot. They just don't. It's tough. It's tough. I think they're both very good. I think it's like they're very similar guys, in my opinion. I just am taking the guy who has the better quarterback. Is kind of how I look at it. Because I don't think Rodgers is better than Bo Nix at this point. I just don't. He's not even close. There's no way you could talk me into Aaron Rodgers having this kind of a year next year. 584 attempts. There's absolutely no way in an Arthur Smith offense he is going to have 584 attempts. Absolutely not. He's going to be lucky. He's going to be lucky to get 500 attempts in that kind of an offense, in my opinion. My 2 cents, though. Got sniped on Love. That's rough. You're going to go Love and pair up with Matthew Golden. Yeah. I mean, that sucks. I also think buying 2 Browns guys here is a little risky. But if it's Flacco season, I mean, let it rain. Let it pour. I'm not going to be drafting the quarterback from them, but let it rain. Sniping back with Kraft. Let's see. So we got the Browns. Pittsburgh Browns. Yeah, okay. That's fine. We could take Freiermuth and just kind of play it that way with the tight ends. Who's on the other side of the Chargers? Houston? Okay. Who's on the other side of Seattle? Carolina. Okay, Carolina's an easy one to get. We can get some Carolina. And no QB. Yeah. I think if it's Sanders or Flacco, we're good. If it's not one of those two, I have a bad feeling we're in for a long season with them. I'm going to do one of my favorite clicks at running back here, and hopefully we get Benson, which we do. Love me some Trey Benson. I'm not very big Connor guy. You're going to find that out pretty quickly. I took my Connor shares early, and I'm trying to play catch up with Benson because I thought the Connor shares were a little too cheap when everything opened. So there's a lot of that with Rice too and Ayuk. I thought Ayuk was cheap, and then Ayuk kept getting pushed down boards. So I was like, damn, I missed out. Why trade? He was bad last year. So Trey Benson is a guy I was a huge fan of coming out of college. Big size, good speed, great skills at running back. I just am a firm believer that Connor is going into his year 31 season. Once again, this is a durability question. And I don't know that Connor stays healthy. Benson showed good signs last year, good enough signs to me that he could be a 3-down horse. And if something happens to Connor, Trey Benson is one of the cuffs I want to have. And I feel like in that Arizona offense, he fits well. He's one of my favorite guys to draft. Garendo is another guy that I'm going to click here that makes a lot of sense. I think that one's kind of self-explanatory as to why. CMC, a lot of injury concerns. If you're putting that to the side, I just can't anymore. I won't anymore. So, guy I like to click is Garendo. Obviously, Garendo got hurt last year too. But I do think Garendo and what he showed last year is an easy handcuff to Christian McCaffrey. I get they drafted James, but I don't really think James is much of a factor in that backfield. I have taken him some. I just think Garendo's very talented. I think we have a very fun running back room here. Makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways. I think we could play this a lot of different ways here. Let's see. We have 2 quarterbacks. Our quarterbacks are done. I think taking Herbert and Hurts pretty much solidifies our room. We want to take Darnold as a slip later. We can. Doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but we can. We can Quentin Johnston this up and get real ugly here with the Chargers and lean into their throwing game with Greg Roman. I don't love doing that, but it is something I have done. Quentin off the board. I mean, as I'm talking about it, he goes off the board. Roshan is another guy I really like. Wright is another guy I really like. Let's see, Muth. I'm not really looking to take a bunch of running backs here, but it might be what's fallen to me. Henry, not really super interested there. Gesicki, we get Gesicki as an opposite end to Benson if we want. Jets, who's on the other side of the Jets? Who do the Jets play? New England? Yeah, that's not really going to help me much. Doesn't really make much sense for me to go that route. Auten, no. Tennessee plays the Saints, not really. Oh man, who do the Chargers play? Houston. Schultz really late could be a second tight end. I don't love that. If we go 3 tight ends, that could be a play too. Jalen Knoll. I like playing it that way too. Jalen Knoll's not bad. Terrible playoff schedule. Yeah, I mean, I try not to look at this a ton. Jacksonville, New Orleans, New England. I don't know that that's that bad, to be honest. Jacksonville, New Orleans, New England, those are all games that they could be in close range to winning. Saints have a really good playoff schedule, in my opinion. Let's see. Washington has a not so fun one in Philly. San Fran, KC, New Orleans, I think that could be fun. I do think that this Chargers one could be fun. Not really huge on it, but it could be fun. We're going to go and take Knoll because I think he's the last guy. You think of New England? Yeah. New England's schedule in general is just Buffalo, Baltimore, Jets, like that's rough. That's extremely rough. Like that is extremely rough. I will give you that. That one is extremely rough. Falcons have an extremely fun one. Tampa Bay, Arizona, and the Rams. That is an extremely fun best ball schedule, by the way. Just being honest. I think the Panthers have a real fun one too. New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Seattle. That's a really fun one. I like May. Just got to treat him like an advanced rate guy. Yeah, pretty much. May's fun. May's good enough to be able to do that. Let's see. I'm going to take Roshan just because I think he's a lot better. The choices there. All right. So we got 2. This is definitely a 3 tight end team, I think. We have Taylor. We have Schultz. Ferguson. Arroyo, maybe. If we want to go that route. Arroyo's not bad. We could go the Darnold route. Let's see. Receivers. We need to get a couple more. Maybe. We could play the Calvin Austin, Dante Thornton. One of those 3. We could play the Coker route and get the opposite side of the Seattle. I think there's a lot of different choices we could go here. AD Mitchell as just a pure upside play. Amari Cooper is a guy that I like to click last round. Yeah, there's a lot of guys potentially we could go here. So I'm just gonna accept that for what it is. Keep it moving. We'll probably do one more draft after this and call it a night. Because this will be 3 drafts tonight. So 3 drafts in a night. That's a pretty solid number. Let me see if my Devi leagues have moved at all. Hopefully they have. Probably not, but hopefully they have. It's looking like that would be a no-go. Oh, well, somebody's moved. Let's see. Who'd he take? Tua? Okay. Tua's off the board. 706. Interesting. I'm not going to say who I want in that draft because I know some people in that league follow my YouTube, so it's kind of hard for me to say who I want in that league. But if If one guy in particular falls, that'd be nice. I don't see Derrick Henry falling. I don't really see some of these guys on the board falling, but there's one guy in particular that might fall. So we'll see. We got a lot queued up here. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff, as some might say. Schultz off the board. Can't really go that route. We still got the Knoll route, though. So we got Knoll on the other side of Ladd McConkey. It's pretty nice. Maybe an upside play that we look to explore. Who's on the other side of the Browns? The Steelers? Yeah, I'm not targeting that game outside of what I already have. Mason Taylor, upside play. That's what we want. I get that there's 2 bye weeks here, the same, whatever. I don't really care. Yeah, it is what it is. We're definitely going to probably take another rookie tight end, as you can probably tell. Coker is another option that I think makes some sense here as a flip side play to the Seattle. Flip side play to Smith and Jigba, get another guy on the other side of that game that could potentially be a shootout. It's kind of how I like to pick these last round guys, because realistically speaking, these are all guys that are pretty close to the same. Like, they may have a week or two where they're like really good, and that's about it. And that's still a big maybe. There's not even a guarantee there that happens. I think our running back room is pretty solid for what we ended up with. Caleb Johnson, late season, hopefully upside. Saquon, Etienne, Benson, Garindo, and Roschon, 3 of the elite cuffs. We get Coker on the other side of JSN. We get Ladd McConkey and Noel on the other side. We get Philly here and Mr. Devontae Smith. Judy and Njoku, we don't really have another side to that Steelers game, which is fine. Because ultimately speaking, they are in Cleveland, so it could be cold anyways. But we've seen Njoku and Jerry Jeudy play through that before and put up good performances. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. The Rams are on the other side of Atlanta. We don't really have any Atlanta pieces, which is fine. I'm cool with that. If we don't get Ferguson, we don't get Ferguson. If we get Arroyo, that's fine too. I'm good with either one, to be honest. I want to take the upside there in case Njoku's a guy who gets injured and we get at least some upside at tight end. Because I think Arroyo and Mason Taylor are pretty easily the guys starting in their respective teams. I think Mason Taylor could be the second guy. Second in the pecking order. We'll put it that way. So I'll jump in another one with you. Give me a 10-second countdown after this one. Okay, that's fine. Oh, man. I have such a cold. It's crazy. It's probably because the weather's changing so much outside and stuff. So, but like I said, guys, if you're new here, make sure y'all drop a like. Helps me out, helps my channel grow. And subscribe if you're new. I do appreciate all the subs. If you guys go look at my main channel videos, you guys can see it's a lot of video game content. I'm probably gonna get rid of those. I'm not gonna say pretty soon because I do enjoy going back and looking at those videos, but a lot of my live feeds are all live streams of best ball drafts, so I try to keep those up. So unless you're done, no, I'll do one more. I said one more after this one, so I'm gonna do one more. Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell's a fun one. Slot guy for the Rams. Not a bad pick. I do think he's a fun one just to have. I do like to go back and look at my 2023 live streams sometimes just to see what kind of room, what the rooms looked like back then. I had to do it a very different way last year. Aaron Jones, let's see. Tyreek Hill Gabe Davis was a 75th overall pick. That's pretty funny. Gabe Davis was a 75th overall pick. Let's see. Miles Sanders was the 70th overall pick. That's pretty funny. Zay Jones was 120. There's some pretty interesting ADPs. 102 was still Justin Jefferson, by the way. Just wanted to throw that out there. The thing about Justin Jefferson is his consistency. That guy is the pinnacle of it. Let me tell you. Terrence Ferguson. All right. So we get Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Saquon Barkley, Caleb Johnson, Travis Etienne, Trey Benson, Isaac Garindo, Roshan Johnson, Vlad McConkey, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Michael Pittman Jr. Let's go back. Where'd it go? Michael Pittman Jr., Jalen Noel, Jalen Coker, David Njoku, Mason Taylor, and Terrence Ferguson rounding it out. I will say this Greyhound team, I did this with Dynasty Domain, and honestly, I love how it turned out. I'm going to show this real quick while we're waiting. We have Kyler and Dak, Kamara, Judkins, David Montgomery at a discount, by the way, must I add. Travis Etienne, Blake Corum, Dylan Sampson. Got CD, Rashee Rice, DJ Moore, Marvin Mims, Jack Besh at a pretty good discount there. He was pretty high there for a while. Cedric Tillman, Romeo Dobbs. We just needed a guy to get on the field, potentially. We have the upside guys already. Trey McBride, Hunter Henry, and Noah Gray. We're hoping Noah Gray can maybe be a piece for a week or two. We'll see. But yeah, I overall really like that team a lot. It's pretty good. We're going to go ahead and hop into another one. This will be my last one for the night. Let me see if I can find it here. Here we go. All right, we got 7 people that we're waiting on. So while we're waiting, let's see. Is there anything in the draft room that's changed? Nope. Okay. So nothing's changed in my sleeper drafts. Let me make sure nothing's changed in this room. Nope, nothing's changed. He only has 13 minutes left. It's going to pause, though, on him, so it's probably going to pause overnight for him. Let's see. Ross there. Let's see. All right. We got 4 people that we're waiting on. Like I said, this will probably be the last draft for the night. 3 drafts. So we got in a pretty decent amount, I'd say. Oh, and I get the number 1 or number 2. I mean, I don't know why I said number 1. Get the number 2. And it looks like Jefferson's passed Saquon in ADP. I don't know if it's been like that, but I did just now noticed it. So Justin Jefferson, yet again, number 2 overall in ADP. Well deserved, by the way. Week in and week out, Justin Jefferson is that guy. I think there is a case to be made that Justin Jefferson has a down year this year. I think there is a case for it. I'm not going to be on that side of the fence, but I think there is a case that it could be made. Just because it's JJ McCarthy's first year, and there's a lot of unknowns. So, but like I said, I'm not buying that narrative. JJ's pretty much gone out there and done it with any quarterback he's had. So, you know, I personally don't think it's really a big issue. CeeDee Lamb over Bijan and Saquon. I think right now, my rankings personally, if I had to choose the first round right now, would be Jamar, Jefferson, Bijan, Barkley, Lamb. Is probably how I would have it right now. And then Gibbs after that. And then probably Puka, Neighbors, Amon-Ra, McCaffrey, Nico. Yeah, that's probably how I would have it. Watch this crazy start. Wait, did you just take HA in round 1? Look at you, getting unique. Flip the board. Watch this crazy start. Hey, I'm going to keep it a buck, though. I'm taking HA over McCaffrey. I am. I genuinely think I could. I can talk myself into that. Amon-Ra, Nico, that's a really fun start. Amon-Ra, Nico. I love to be at the back halves this year because like Amon-Ra Nico, if you get that kind of a start, your receiver room is so hard to catch. It truly is. And then you take an elite quarterback on top of that and you hope one of those running backs fall to you. It's such a hard way to catch somebody. BTJ, Ashton Genty, Derrick Henry, Puka Nacua. Kind of curious to see what you do in the second round here. Just to see. Bucky Irving. Okay. Bucky Irving and Devon Achane. Okay. Interesting, because I was actually going to go Bucky Irving. Okay. Let's see what we can manage here. Let's see. There's not going to be any running backs left, is there? Nobody will have that. Yeah, I mean, you got to get to week 17 first, my sir. But you're right. If you can get it there, it's hard to pull the team together. Yeah, exactly. It's harder to pull the team together than that. But it's a risk. It's a risk that I'd be willing to take. Oh man. Okay. See, this is where things get a little difficult for me. I'm okay clicking Jacobs here. I'm okay with it because of how good he was last year. And nothing's really changed other than getting Golden, and I still think they're a run-first offense. I still don't really think they have a passing identity. I think that's the word, the proper word I should be using, identity. So I'm definitely going to go Josh Jacobs, and I'm definitely going to go Kyron. I think those two guys, Kyron's going to be playing for an extension. They're working on an extension. I don't really see an issue there. I think getting two guys like that with Jefferson heading your receiver room is super critical. I'm not really a huge Brown guy. I get that he was super good. I just don't know that the Bengals think he's super good. And I don't think he's a guy who can handle 80 to 90% of the workload like he did last season. I don't think that's sustainable. So, however, with Kyron, I know it is sustainable. Josh Jacobs, I know it's sustainable with those guys. Those are guys that have done it several years in a row now. And it just makes sense to me. Plus, getting that kind of a schedule is fun. Plus, we know Detroit's on two of these teams' schedules the last 3 weeks. So that's fun too. Love a good board flip. Getting Marv Harrison. I think that's a decent pick. I'm not taking Terry. So I have Marv Harrison over Terry too. I'm not a big Terry fan this year. I think he's a little bit overpriced. By a little bit, I mean he's way overpriced. But what do I know, right? What do I know? I'm just a streamer with barely any viewers. What do I know? Yeah, you won't see me taking much Marv Harrison in drafts. I will bury myself in that grave before I take him. With a board flip? Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean it wasn't like a super reach. I mean, 6 picks. It's not like crazy by any means. I don't think it's super crazy. I'm just saying those running backs should be going a little bit sooner than what they are. Because if a team with like that starts like this, Kyron sometimes falls to a team like this, and you get Amon-Ra, Nico, Kyron, and then like Lamar or Josh Allen. And then you're sitting there looking at the team, and it's just like, dude, like, what am I supposed to do? Those 4 guys right there is just insane. I don't know, man. Harrison was better than people think last year. Expectations were just so high. I mean, was he really that good last year? Because I don't think they schemed him very well. They didn't move him around much. He was more so a run a streak and go make a contested catch, and that's just not his game. They didn't give it much to him behind the line of scrimmage, hardly at all. And that really sucks because I really wanted to see some stuff like that. I wanted to see him schemed, and he really wasn't schemed. Hardly at all. And that made me a little sad because like I said, I really enjoyed that part. I was looking forward to that part of Marv's game. So, take that for what it is. Agree? Yeah. I mean, that's just how I felt about him. I think he's good. I do. I truly think he is a perennial talent at the receiver position. I just don't think he schemed very well. So I don't see that changing. The coaching staff really didn't change there. So kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Jameson Williams at a value here. He already has a tight end, so I have a feeling I'll get Kittle anyways. So we're going to take Jameson here at a value, getting him at a slight discount. Hopefully we can follow it up with a little Kittle action here. But yeah. I don't see why he would take Kittle, but never know. Never know in these rooms what people do. So if he takes Kittle, we'll just go to Devontae Smith, what we always do. Not a big deal. All right, George Kittle it is. And we get George Kittle at a little value here, which is nice. Nice little start here for this team. Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams, Justin Jefferson, Jameson Williams, George Kittle. We're going to be struggling to find receivers, which is fine. We want to solidify the RB room at the same time, but we do have George Kittle to kind of hold down the tight end room, which is nice. We want to make sure that we can get some receivers, though. We're definitely going to be looking at Judy. We're definitely going to be looking at one of these Green Bay guys, probably Jaden Reed. Diggs is another guy that I'm really looking at that is really nice. Olave is another guy I really want to see. Your start is nasty. Yeah, I like this team. I like the start. The reach on Kyron really did it for me. I think that ended up being a really good thing. I think, like I said, I think Kyron should be more in this range anyways. I don't think he should be ahead of JSN. I think he should be ahead of Garrett Wilson. I think Reek should be ahead of Garrett Wilson too. I think Adam should be ahead of Garrett Wilson. I think the Marvin Harrison Terry tier is kind of where Garrett Wilson should be. I'm not a big Garrett Wilson guy. That wasn't very clear. I'm not a big Jets guy in general, and there's a reason for that. Justin Fields, not very talented. Unfortunately. A lot of wrong situations and just a lot of bad in that scenario. So that to me, it's just a red flag automatically. Is you already have a quarterback who doesn't really fit your offense anyway, who's trying to get a revive in his career. I understand all that, but it doesn't fit what that team does at all. I hate Wilson this year. Fields might not even pass for 2,000 yards. Yeah. And Garrett Wilson talks about he wants to be a Jet for life. I don't know how much, like, this is my dynasty brain coming in. I don't know how much of that is true. And I don't want to believe it. I mean, there's no way a guy wants to be a Jet for life. I'm sorry. That just does not exist. And if it does, I've never heard somebody in the right frame of mind saying it. So, yeah, I don't know. Godwin off the board. That would have been a really good pick for me if I could have got Godwin, but good pick. Bucky, Godwin, HN, you got that going. You got the KC, you got Carolina. Got some interesting things going here. Got some upside swings here, definitely. James Conner off the board way too early in my eyes. But hey, it is what it is. Jerry Jeudy off the board. That kind of sucks for me. Probably going to go Judkins here. I like Judkins quite a bit. I think he makes a lot of sense for this team. And then I think we're done at running back for quite some time. Don't really got to look at any more running backs for a little while. Judkins is probably... Oh, man. That sucks. Okay. Let's go Swift as a fallback, or we could go David Montgomery. I'm not really huge on that, but we could. Oh, Montgomery. Let's go Swift. Yeah, we're gonna go Swift. Okay. So Swift, not like my biggest fan of this pick, but we got sniped. It happens. It is what it is. A little bit ahead of ADP. I was afraid that might happen. Sharp drafter here. We're going to do a little bit of Jaden Reed here. I'm not into the whole buying Minnesota whole offense kind of thing. I'm not really that guy. I want one guy from that offense, and that's about it. I think Addison's good. Don't get me wrong. But I also think there's a chance that he misses games, and I don't like that. I like Jaden Reed, though. Jaden Reed. We were talking about, okay, thing about Jaden Reed, the fall off for Jaden Reed needs to be studied because this was a guy we were putting in the same breath as like top 15 kind of receivers last year at the beginning of the year. I mean, we were saying this guy was like a top 15 receiver last year. I get it. Golden has come in and some things have changed, but Love was not healthy at all last season. And I think that needs to be noted and needs to be very loudly noted. But what the fuck was that? Anyway, I don't know what that noise was. It just said, come on. But I don't know what that was. Anyway, I think that needs to be noted very loudly. I think somebody just took a kicker in one of my dynasty leagues. I think that might be what happened. Let me look. No, I don't know. I don't know what happened just now. I don't know what the come on was, but anyways, I don't know. I don't even know if you guys heard the come on. So, oh, did it auto draft somebody? No. Okay. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, sorry. I got distracted. There was a noise and I don't know where it came from. So I'm trying to figure out where it came from. As you can see, I have a lot of tabs open. So, anyway, moving. I don't even know where I was at. I don't even remember what I was talking about. So, anyways, I guess we're just gonna move on. And you take the direct correlation hit with Matthew Golden. It looks like you're a Matthew Golden guy. That's fine. I don't know if that's just coincidence or what, but Matthew Golden. I'm not saying that he's bad. I just don't know if he's that good. And Denver, Chicago, Baltimore is your last three. It's a little rough. It's a little rough to be throwing the ball. A little rough. At Denver, at Chicago, and at home versus Baltimore. A little rough, to say the least. That's okay. It's okay. You got to buy the upside sometimes. I like Reed better. Coincidence? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I like Reed better too. I think Golden's good. Don't get me wrong. I do think he's a talented guy. I don't know. I don't think he's a one like they think he is. Mr. Mahomes. Okay. Probably going to make a rather large reach here. I don't think it's a reach. I think Purdy's amazing. But I think we're going to make that reach. And yeah, make it make sense. Hawkinson's another guy that I really would like to take. I just don't know how much he has in the tank. He has no reason to go either of the guys I'm looking at, so he has a reason to go tight end. That's really the thing. He has a reason to do it. This is how I normally like to construct teams. That's how this guy's done it. Higgins. Okay. We're going to go Hawkinson, and that's going to be the end of our tight ends. We don't need any more tight ends. We bought them. We came, we saw, we conquered. Yeah. And now where's JJ at? Because we are definitely buying JJ McCarthy with this team. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. They have big upside, for sure. Like Hawkinson really hasn't shown a whole lot. But I do think Hawkinson is a guy that you can swing for and hope that he has some elite production. And you're also buying an offense here. You're buying a game script in that last week, in my opinion, that needs a lot of pieces because I think it's a high-scoring game. Jefferson, Hawk, Jamison Williams, and J.J. McCarthy. Like I think that's a very good thing to buy into that Week 17 matchup versus Minnesota at Minnesota. I think it's a very good thing to buy into. I think it's something that's very feasible to see a high-scoring game from. You know? How's he different from like Dallas Goedert? He stays on the field. I think gets more offense, gets more looks than Goedert. Goddard's a fourth option. I think Hawkinson is a 2 option for half the season and 3 option after that. So, you know, that's how he's different. And I also don't think Goddard is all that much. I think Hawkins is a lot better than Goddard personally. But you know, like I said, there's not a whole lot of really soundproof in that concept either. So I get your justification here. Truly, I do. Let's see. We have some Chicago. San Fran kind of going here with Swift, Purdy, Kittle. Are they at Chicago? They're at San Fran. So it's going to be good weather there. So that's good. Yeah, I mean, you definitely could be right? You most certainly could be. And in a lot of years, it has been that way. It definitely has been that way. Usually this is not what I typically would do if I took Kittle, but you got Hawkinson at a value. You already bought the offense with Jefferson. You may as well. That's how I looked at that pick. You may as well, because you've already bought into the offense. So why not? Why not? We're probably going to buy JJ next just to be certain we lock that in. And then we are about to pound receiver like there's no tomorrow. Pause after that, by the way. Oh, man. My nose is just so runny. Tyler Warren has been one of my favorite clicks if I don't get a tight end early. I do like Tyler Warren this year a lot. Makes a lot of sense to be an upside tight end swing. I do think he's a very good tight end. Take a swing on. I do think there's really no rush, though, because you do have Jordan Love as well that you could buy. Either one of those guys. So I do think receiver might actually get prioritized here. And we might go either Marvin Mims or Kyle. I think we're going to go Kyle, though. Big Kyle Williams fan. Hollywood Brown's another one that I really like. Let's see. I think we're going to go Kyle for the upside swing. And then Jordan Love or JJ McCarthy. I think personally we've taken Justin Jefferson, we've taken Hawkins, so we've already bought into this big game script. Anyways, the Green Bay side of things, we haven't really bought any Baltimore guys. Could we buy some Baltimore guys later? Sure, we could get Likely, but I'm not really into the Likely thing. So we're going to go JJ McCarthy here and keep it moving. Why are people so high on Kyle Williams? So I think the big reason why people are so high on Kyle Williams is A, they like the Drake May profile, which I do too. I mean, we've already admitted that Drake May is really good. B, there's been quite a bit of connection already with those two in camp. I know camp, I don't like to take camp like this super direct correlation to it, but the connection's there already. Diggs is kind of a wild card, I think. Diggs could be really bad. Diggs could be getting in trouble. Diggs is a very big wild card. Diggs, for all we know, could be about as good as he was in Houston. Could be worse. I mean, I think there's a very likelihood chance that Diggs is worse than he was in Houston. And that's not a receiver one on this team. And if they want to throw the football at all, which they're going to be losing games, we know that already. I feel like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Diggs could be, I don't know that he's a zero, because I think Diggs is a little bit better than that. And I think Debo's a little bit better than that. But those guys are just not guys. Those guys are such wild cards that we just don't know. Diggs looks good in camp. He has looked good in camp. I will give him that. He has looked pretty good in camp. But at the end of the day, I think Kyle Williams is a guy that good landing spot, good coaching staff, good quarterback. A lot of good things to say there. A lot of goods. Travion Henderson has some potential to help the run game there. And open that up to where it's like Kyle Williams has some stuff down the field that works. I think there's just a lot of good things that you could see happening this year for them that make him a decent upside swing for some spike weeks. Especially if Diggs is not good. If Diggs is not good, or Diggs is just hurt again, or Diggs shows that he's 31, 32, and is slow and is horrible, Kyle Williams could be the juice in that offense for the passing offense. I mean, there's nobody else there. Demario Douglas? Are we taking a swing at Demario Douglas? I mean, you could, I guess, but I'm not. I'm taking the guy they took, in the draft, Kyle Williams. He is a little expensive. I will give you that. He is expensive. He didn't used to be ahead of Jack Besh. Jack Besh is another one of my favorites that has dropped a lot in price. Could be the receiver too for the Raiders. I get the hype with Dante Thornton. Dante Thornton could be no more than just a streaker. That's all he could be. A big streaker. I mean, I don't know that he's much more than that. We don't know that at all. So, but yeah, I mean, these guys are all wild cards at this point, At the end of the day. I'm going to tell you this right now, too. Quentin Johnston has been a guy I like to click recently, too. And the reason being is because he's a very big wild card. I mean, 711 yards, that is no slouch of a season. No slouch at all. I get they drafted Trey Harris. Trey Harris could take some time. Trey Harris and Quentin Johnston, I don't think they're the same guy. I don't. I think Trey Harris is an outside guy. I think Quentin Johnston is a slot guy. And I don't see them being the same role. Trey Harris to me is not as fast as Quentin, but Quentin to me is a guy who had a really bad first year, had a pretty good second year, and hopefully he can boom onto the scene in his third year. I don't put that out of his realm of possibilities. Cedric Tillman, not great. Not a great pick. Leggett, I'm not huge on, but Leggett's flashing in camp. I think Leggett is a guy I'm falling back in love with a little bit. I don't really need running backs. I need to take some chances here and get some upside plays, and Leggett could be that for me. So we got to get the upside swings here at receiver because we only have Justin Jefferson. Jameson Williams is a spike week guy. Jaden Reed is a spike week guy. We got to get some guys that are going to swing for the fences here and figure it out there. That's just how we have to play this team. We already have the running backs that we like. We have the quarterbacks. We have the tight ends. We don't need those. We need to take some guys here that are really going to swing for the fences. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about this team right now is we need to get some guys that swing for the fences. Now we can take some guys that are going to be on the field. Pat Bryant's one of those guys that could be both. I don't know how much he's going to be on the field, though. I'd simply put don't know. Same with Noel. I don't know those answers. Hopkins is going to be on the field. Wilson's going to be on the field. Austin's going to be on the field. Douglas is going to be on the field. These are all guys that could be on the field. Wandale's going to be on the field. There's going to be a lot of these guys on the field. These are the guys I'm looking to get. Yeah. Those are probably the realm of guys that I'm looking to get that could just give me points in weeks. I'm going to need that with this team. We have the running backs. We need a couple more that are decent. I think Eckler's decent. I think Wright's decent. I think Chubb's decent. Hill's decent. Garendo's decent. All these guys are decent. We need point getters at running back to make sure that we can fill up this running back room. Receiver room right now is getting a little full. Quentin Johnston's going to be on the field, by the way. Xavier Leggett's going to be on the field. Kyle Williams is going to be on the field. Those guys are all three going to be on the field. But they are very big upside swings, especially Kyle, especially Leggett. Those guys are both very upside swings because Leggett could lose his job to Coker at the end of the day. I'm a huge Coker fan, but I think Leggett is worth the chance because that could be a receiver too in that offense by year's end. I don't think he's better than Tet. I don't even think he's close. I don't think anybody in that room is even close to Tet. Doesn't even sniff Tet, to be honest. But I do think that Bryce Young, if he takes a leap forward again, that we see some good things from them. Thornton sucks. Man, love to see everyone pushing him up. I think Thornton has the upside to be decent. There's a lot of guys like that, though, in that range where I'm not really drafting Thornton. I'd rather take Keenan. I'd rather take Slayton. I'd rather take Coker. There's a lot of guys. I'd rather take Wicks and Brian Stacks. I don't care. I don't care. That's fine. That is fine by me, man. You're taking him at ADP. I can't even get mad at that. I got a bunch of guys in queue anyways. Garendo's off the board. Oh, man. I think Jalen Wright's interesting. Jalen Wright's an interesting one because I don't think Achane gets a ton of volume. I mean, Achane's not a guy who can handle 250 plus carries. He's just not. So Wright's going to have a role in that offense. I think he's a decent choice. We're going to go ahead and do it. I think he's a decent choice here. I think we're going to take Michael Wilson next. Oh, no. I don't care. Take your guys. Yeah, I mean, that's nothing. That's honestly nothing for me. I mean, it's fine. Michael Wilson. Want a guy who's out there on the field. Want a guy who's playing. Michael Wilson's going to be out there. Douglas. Could have been Douglas. We already took Williams. Jalen Wright is my top 3 most drafted. Love him. I love Jalen Wright too. Jalen Wright's a guy that I can click on pretty easily and like get behind it. So let's look at this real quick. So running back wise, we have Hill. Quinshon Judkins is way up there. Jahmyr Gibbs, way up there. Kamara, Roshan, White, Henderson, Etienne, Sampson, Ray Davis, Devin Neal, Jaden Blue. Jalen Wright is 13.3%. Going to go up a little bit here. Let's go ahead and take this down. Jalen Wright, 13.3%. Giddens, Brian Robinson, Jerome Ford, Will Shipley, J.K. Dobbins. I was taking a lot of J.K. Dobbins before he got signed. So that's nice. Genty, Bashal Tootin, James Cook, Kyron, DeAndre Swift, Achane, Warren Harvey. I'm probably a little lower on consensus than most people with Harvey. Estimate, let's see what the low guys are. Bucky Irving. I'm going to tell you this right now. I am not a Bucky Irving guy. I never have been in redraft and dying and nothing. I'm not a Bucky Irving guy. I'm not a Chase Brown guy. I'm not a Ken Walker guy. I have learned that about myself. It's very hard for me to click those guys. And the reason why is flat out this simple. Bucky Irving does not have a good profile. Point blank, period. I think he was schemed exceptionally well, and that scheme is now gone. I don't trust him. I think Rachaad White could bite into that role a little bit. I haven't totally figured it out yet. I don't know why I like White a little bit, but I do. Same thing with like Chase Brown. Chase Brown is not a guy who's going to get 229. This is on pace for 300 carries. He's not doing that. That's not Chase Brown. Ken Walker can't stay on the field. If Ken Walker could stay on the field, we would be talking about him in the same breath as Josh Jacobs. Simply put. I want to make sure I don't miss my pick here. But yeah, I mean, those are guys I'm not a big fan of at running back that are kind of up there in ADP. Receiver-wise, you can see Leggett. This is like my first big Leggett thing. Emeka Egbuka this year. I love Emeka Egbuka in Dynasty. This year, not so much. There's a world where he's usable, but I'm not living in it. Debo, I'm off him. Jennings, I don't know why this guy is getting so much buzz. I understand. Ayuk's not healthy. Pearsall's kind of right now. If you don't think George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey are the two guys here, I don't know. And then when Ayuk is just going to progress and get better as the year goes on. Like, I just don't see that role lasting. And you want guys, especially in Ayuk's world, that can get you points those later weeks. We're taking Keenan Allen, by the way. Like, without a doubt, a shadow of a doubt, we're taking Keenan Allen there. But you want guys that have that kind of upside that can just be good. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like Ayuk is that guy. I think we're going to go Dylan Sampson here. Hopefully. Yep. Okay. Dylan Sampson. Give me a little receiving back action here. Interesting. I love Bucky and Brown. They can put up big numbers without volume, give them 10 to 15 touches, and they can get it done. I think Bucky is, like I said, I think Bucky was schemed very, very good. He has now lost Cohen. And we watched them draft more offense. They have Egbuka, who's extremely talented. Evans, who's extremely talented. Godwin, who's extremely talented, and Jalen McMillan, who showed out last year. They have 4 guys to swing the ball to, and Baker Mayfield has been very good. He has been vastly improved. I just don't see a world where Bucky, upside-wise, is like this home run guy again. I don't think he's a home run play, and people like to call him that. And I get it, but I'm not there. I'm not there. He's not very fast. A. B, he's like a zone runner, and we'll see how they scheme. Like I said, I think a lot of this is just zone schemes. We'll see. We'll see how they scheme him. But I'm losing Cohen really hurt. We'll put it that way for him. Achane is another guy, or Chase Brown, sorry, is another guy that, like, he was almost 90% of their share last year. And I don't see that happening. Zach Moss, everybody's forgetting about how good Zach Moss or decent Zach Moss was. I'm not clicking him, but like, he's not a bad running back by any means. And it also drafted Taj Brooks. Taj Brooks is not terrible either. You know, I don't see him getting a guy who's on pace for 300 carries, because that's what he would have been last year if he played the full year. It was over 300 carries. He was CMC level of production last year. A prime CMC. Do we really think Chase Brown is prime CMC? Because I don't. I don't. You know, like, I don't see that being a world that we live in. I just don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. Won't be the last either. So running back. We need to figure out who we want to take for this last round. Do we need somebody who's on the field, or do we need an upside swing? I think we need more of an upside swing, which I think Raheem Mostert fits that bill. So we're going to go ahead and take Mostert behind Genty. Or we could do Kyle Mahangi, or however you say his name. We're going to go Mostert, actually, because we already got Swift. We're making the bet on Swift. So, all right. Purdy, McCarthy, Jacobs, Kyron, Swift, Jalen Wright, Dylan Sampson, Raheem Mostert, Jefferson, Jameson, Jaden Reed, Kyle Williams, Quentin Johnston, Xavier Legette, Michael Wilson, Keenan Allen, George Kittle, and TJ Hawkinson to round it out on that draft as well. Let's see. How close are we to filling in the poodle? We're very close to filling in the poodle. We're at 96% basically. So it's going to fill tonight, unfortunately. So yeah, it's probably going to fill tonight. And I didn't get all my entries in, which really sucks, because I really, 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 really like to get my entries in. So at least 3/4 of them. But yeah, I'm probably going to call it a stream here tonight. If you guys haven't already done the Corgi, that's one well worth doing. The Greyhound, I did it as well. I can kind of show you guys those teams real quick before I get off here. We already showed the Greyhound, the Corgi. I feel like I got a pretty good team with the Corgi too. Got Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Kamara, Quinshawn, Etienne. If you're noticing a trend, sorry. Tyrone Tracy at a discount. Rico Dowdle, Jalen Wright at a huge discount. Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra St. Brown, by the way, at a huge discount, getting Amon-Ra St. Brown and Neighbors on the same team. And Reek, Jaden Reed, Josh Downs, Trey Harris at a big discount, Coker, George Kittle, Brenton Strange, and Terrence Ferguson rounding it out. This team is unbelievably good. This might be my favorite best ball team I have. And I wish the running backs were slightly better, but I think they're good enough to be able to push me through. If Judkins can flash the upside that he's shown already, Kamara be solid again, Etienne be Etienne for the year, Tyrone Tracy wins the job outright, Dowdle maybe has some impact, Wright has some impact. I think this could be a team that's extremely fun because you have Neighbors, Amon-Ra, and Reek. Those 3 guys alone could put up 20 points a week, every single week. I don't care if you believe Tyreek Hill or not. This is a guy who could actually pop for 40 points still. Amon-Ra can pop for 40 points. Neighbors can pop for 40 points. Like, all 3 of these guys can do that. Reed is in that realm of outcomes of 20. Josh Downs is in that outcome as well. Harris, I don't know that he's there yet. We'll see. Coker's just kind of an extra receiver here at the end. Kittle, great tight end. Strange. We saw him have some games with no Evan Ingram. Terrence Ferguson is my favorite click in drafts right now. I think he's probably the easiest click in the last round for me, tight end wise. If that isn't obvious, you can tell by my exposures who my favorite clicks are at tight end. It's pretty obvious. If you can't tell, I'm all over the Dolphins. Tyreek ain't dead. I don't know, man. I just hope they have something to play for. I think that's the big thing with him is they got to have something to play for. And if they do have something to play for, he's a very good player. If they don't, it's a little bit sketchy. But yeah. That's probably, we can do a quick review over exposures real quick. My top exposed receivers, we have Ayuk, Rice, Keenan, Amon-Ra, Keon Coleman, Marvin Mims Jr., Jalen Noel, Xavier Worthy, Devontae Smith, Rome Odunze, Pat Bryant, Drake London, Puka Nacua, Hollywood Brown, Josh Downs, Devontae Adams, Jordan Addison, Darius Slayton, Jamison Williams, Kyle Williams, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jack Besh, T. Higgins, DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, Matthew Golden, Malik Neighbors, Jerry Jeudy, Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill rounding it out there above 10%. Pretty solid guys there overall. Lower guys that I'm on, Tet, Terry, DK. As previously stated, I'm not a DK guy. Travis Hunter, Cooper Kupp, Mekik Buka. Is there anybody that I really, other than that? Chris Olave, Justin Jefferson. I don't have a lot of Jefferson. I think it's just because he's at 2. I have a lot of Gibbs, which is obvious. I was taking Gibbs pretty early in the process at 3. I liked Gibbs a lot. I still like Gibbs a lot. I think Gibbs is the second best running back behind Bijan this year. We'll see. But I'm hoping a new coaching staff kind of gets it to where we see less David Montgomery. Let's put it that way. And as you can see, Tua is one of my most drafted quarterbacks too. I like to pair Tua up with any of those Dolphins guys if I can. Jonnu, Reek, Waddle, any of those guys. Tua is a really cheap quarterback. Kyler, Purdy. Purdy at one point was my most drafted. I'm kind of surprised he's not up here. Lamar, Hurts, Josh. So that's kind of what my exposures look like right now. And if you want, we could go back and look at the pre-draft. The pre-draft best ball. We were big on Whittington, man. We were very big on Whittington. We were very big on Garrett Wilson because I was taking a swing that Aaron Rodgers might stay and Garrett Wilson has a big upside swing of a year this year. Or they got Jordan or Garrett Wilson got a quarterback in the draft. I was hoping. Sucks. Is what it is. I don't know. I have a lot of Brian Thomas. I have a lot of JSN. I have a pretty good amount of Travis Hunter. Ayuk, I was crushing. Whittington, I got destroyed on that one. Giddens, I got destroyed on that one. Let me be real about DJ Giddens for a moment. DJ Giddens, I thought was going to be the Broncos back. I kind of thought he was going to be the guy. If they fell late, that was going to be the guy. I took a ton of Javonte Williams because I knew he was going to be a starter somewhere. I just didn't know where. Damian Martinez crushed me. This guy's going to crush me. So is Audric Estime. Because I thought the Broncos were just going to skip on drafting running back, and they might have went Emeka Egbuka and didn't even take a running back. Jaleel McLaughlin, 14%. Audric Estime, 19%. Rough world we live in. Let's see. Christian McCaffrey. This is where I got a lot of my McCaffrey because you could get him second round. Judkins didn't get a lot of him. For pre-draft, my top 5 is Ayuk, Whittington, Wilson, Giddens, and Javonte Williams. Ouch. QJ, Wicks, Mason Taylor, Pickens, and Jerome Ford. Pickens worked out. Mason Taylor, I think, worked out. QJ's not a horrible click. I really don't think QJ's that bad of a click. I still don't think QJ's that bad of a click. Because I don't really know how much better he is, or worse he is, let's say, than Trey Harris. And you can get him a lot cheaper. So, let me look at the gold. Dak, Tua, Jaden, Achan, Pollard, Tracy, Chubb, Ford, Devin Neal, Puka, Reek, Pickens, Debo, Emeka, Noel, Njoku, Ferguson, Ertz. It's not bad. I don't really love the 3-6-6-3 in that. I think you could have done without one of these quarterbacks and went another receiver, but I think we'll live. That's probably what I would have done. Let's see. We're at 9 of that. Are we at 9 or 10? I want to see if we're like 9 or 10. Let's see. Okay. I love 3-6-6-3s. I mean, it just depends on what team need is, honestly. That's kind of the depending here. I think that team needed a receiver. I wish I would have labeled these because there's a lot of fun puppies in this. I think I labeled one that was amazing value. I labeled this as amazing value. So let's see what this is. Drake May, Tua, Bijan, Taylor, Swift, Ray Davis, Giddens at a discount, Jaleel McLaughlin sitting at the end. Ouch. Reek, Rasheed, fourth. Bring me back to the days, please, of getting 4th round Rasheed Rice. Oh my gosh. Please bring me back to those days. I am begging. Oh man. I would love those days to be back. Palmer, Keenan, Coker, Mims, Diggs, Addison in the 5th. Ouch. I would love to have 4th round Rasheed. Oh my gosh. I'd kill for that now. There's a lot of things I'd do for that. DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Christian Kirk, Keon, Wan'Dale Robinson at pick 211 is kind of crazy. Jefferson at pick 6. Man, I should have been slapping that guy a lot more at pick 6, huh? J.K. Dobbins at 187, Giddens at 174, Ford at 150 with Quinshon Judkins. Okay, James Cook, Caleb, Goff, Dak, 6-3-3. Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what? Ferguson. Okay. Let's see. I'm just kind of looking at teams at this point. Hampton, Travion, Connor, Garendo, Smith, Puka, Ladd, Devontae. Okay. Myers, Ayuk, Hollywood, Jalen Royals. That's fun. Warren, Goddard, Higbee. Higbee. Oh. Allen, May, Stafford. Don't know why I went 3 quarterbacks here. Henry, Travion, Pollard, Neal, McLaughlin. Ouch with the McLaughlin pick. Puka, Worthy, Khalil, Diggs, Keon, Keenan, Wicks, Jonnu, Kraft, Gesicki. Yeah, roster baiting is always fun. It's a fun thing to do. Ooh, a chase team. I love looking at chase teams, even though I got Travis Hunter. Okay, I have some explaining to do with this pick. So Travis Hunter, the pre-draft, I wasn't taking this guy at all. When he was in the hundreds, I was not taking him. I was like, I think he's going to be a corner. I don't know where he's going to go. I have no idea what he is. Yada, 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 yada. Long story short, this is me trying to catch up with exposures with Travis Hunter. No BBM entries? No. I maxed BBM one time 2 years ago. I probably will never play this contest again. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan. And reason number one why. Well, there's a lot of reasons why. One, that number right there. I'm just going to be real with you. $25 an entry to max would cost almost $4,000, right? I did it 1 year. I did it one. I made my money back. I broke even. I'm not willing to throw $4,000 at one contest anymore. I'm just not. I'm not. I don't have that kind of volume in me anymore. Simply put, I don't. Reason number two, advancing. Advancing through this contest is so hard to do. So hard to do. So hard. And getting in that 539 seat final, if you get there, congratulations. You fucking got a chance that very few people get. The most I ever got to was this right here. But I have never made a seat in the final in that. I had a regular season team finish in the top 100 a couple years ago. I forget what that website is. BBMV DB. I think it's this. No, I don't remember what that website is for Best Ball Mania. I know it's somewhere out there. Maybe I could find it in one of my old streams because I bet I can find it in one of my old streams. Let's go look real quick. Let's see. Live. BBMD it's down. Okay, that sucks. So you know the website I was talking about, anyways. But yeah, I was gonna go look and see what that regular season team was, but I did have one finish to where I was in the top 100 or so, in regular season, and that made a lot of my money. And now the regular season isn't really even valued that highly. Like that's a $500 win instead of a $1,500 to $2,000 win, what it was 2 years ago. So yeah, that's kind of rough to me. And just the sheer number of people in this contest, it is, like I said, it is so hard to win that contest. I personally have learned my lesson, and I have a promo code with drafters now. Please don't send my any emails. Oh shit. What the fuck? Okay, there we go. I do have a promo code with drafters, but like this contest here to me feels a lot more feasible to do something with. You know what I mean? I haven't done any of the big contests. I've been so focused on the $2 ones, which they're down now. So this is literally the only best ball contest up right now. So I did get a few in before it ended. I got like 16, 17 in before I was totally done. And like I said, this is an auto drafted team, so like it's really bad. Don't even look at it. I didn't know I was even in a lobby until today. So that's nice. But I need to get some main events on this site done because 25,000 of 140,000, that's not very many. There's a lot of layover. There's a lot of overlay in this contest. And I feel like that's an advantage. It is. And it's a lot easier because like the teams you build are 20-man teams. So Saquon's already a 5th selection here. They're kind of ahead of that curve. This field over here is definitely a lot. I don't know about softer. I don't think softer is the right word. But it's different. It's definitely different. But yeah. I think it's a lot better personally for my buck. You don't really have to worry about this stuff as much in a regular season contest. I haven't done one of these main events yet. I'm kind of waiting to see if they put out another deal or if they put out another like contest. I've never drafted on DraftKings, and maybe I should start. I've never drafted on DraftKings. I don't know why. I never have gotten around to doing it. I don't know what it is, but it feels like one of those things that I'm missing out on. From what I've heard, it feels like I'm missing out on DraftKings quite a bit. But I'm not going to lie. I don't really like these contests that are $20 plus. I'm not a fan of them because I feel like I just feel like if you're not going to max a contest, what's the point, right? Like that's my opinion. Like what is the point in playing a contest if you're not going to max it, or at least have the intentions to max it? Like the poodle, or the puppy, I wanted to max the puppy. I didn't even get close. I just ran out of time. The poodle, I probably will try to max or get close because I'm probably just gonna unwind a bunch of drafts here and just go with it and just go with flow here. Just take like 6 of them and go slow draft and just do it. just to do it because I need to do it. Does it make sense? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I can actually get them in and be done. So they're like, you got most of the poodles done. It just feels like if you're not maxing the contest, then what are you really doing? Like what are you drafting for? In August this year, seen streams, and there's some real stupid stuff I see. Yeah, I mean, poodle drafts have been so tough, though. You got everyone and their mother in that one right now. I mean, the reason being is because it's about to close. I mean, I also think that the format is a lot better. 1 of 6, 1 of 5 is a lot better odds to advance. These smaller contests I'm always finding are a lot easier to advance. Well, I'm not going to say easier. Easier is not the right word. But yeah. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put in my entries here. 15. Let me go ahead and put in my last few entries here. Because I don't think we're going to get another chance here. If they're slow drafts, that's fine. I'm cool with that. Because, like, as long as they're somewhat fun, then that's cool with me. And it gives me something to do over the time being here. Okay. Drafts. NFL. Poodle. 3. Okay. All right. So that's probably going to do it for me. As you can see, I'm currently doing a bunch of poodles. You know what? Actually, F it. We'll do one more. We're going to leave these 2 and do one more. Let's see. Poodle. We'll do one more. F it. Why not? Why not? Slow draft, poodle. Where's it at? Yeah. Just go ahead and do it in a slow. That's fine. Okay. Where's my... Okay. I don't know which one it is. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know which one it is. So I guess we'll see. I think it's this one, but I'm not sure. I think. I don't know for sure. We'll slap out one more because why not? I got nothing better to do, so I guess we'll find out which one. Oh, nope, it is this one. It is this one. Okay. So I'm gonna pick 6. Okay. So pick 6. All right. Let's see what happens. This will be my last draft, though. 110%. This will be my last draft. Let's put myself back up here. Oh, Jesus. All right. Coco Boo. Let's see. Did anybody draft anything? No. Okay, well. Jefferson and Chase. Doing 2 right now already, though. Yeah, you're good. You're good. I'm just going to do one more, probably, and call it a night. Because I'm in a lot of slows now as well. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't miss those. As you can see, we got in a lot of slow drafts. Let's see. Oh, there's a 101 and okay. CeeDee Lamb off the board, Bijan off the board. This is where I just take my more Gibbs and just keep it moving, more than likely. Or we could do something funny, which I think we're gonna do. Let's see. Take Neighbors. I like Neighbors a lot. Neighbors is a guy that I'm just going to continue to draft. Let's see. Is there anything we can do that's kind of odd to like flip the board? We could have went Brian Thomas, Jonathan Taylor. That would have been an interesting way to go. I don't think we're going to be able to do that now, but that would have been an interesting route anyways. Is there any other games that we like really want to target that like make sense? Oh, let's see. Atlanta Rams, Houston, okay. Rams. We could have really went Nico Ladd. That would have been fun. That's what we should have done is Nico Ladd. That would have been fun. Talk about fun. Let's see. What else? Green Bay. Kind of want to do one of these. A Green Bay Ravens. Dallas, Washington. That's fun. Both Gibbs can't get enough. Yeah, I like Gibbs. I like Gibbs a lot. I took me some neighbors. Gibbs went 8th in this one. That's kind of crazy. So Gibbs goes Gibbs Achane. That's weird. Let's see. We can't do the Ladd thing, but we can do a lot of weird things here. We're gonna go Bucky, guy we don't have a lot of again. 10 picks away. Let's go back into the room here and see what we got. Jamar Chase, the easiest 101 ever. It's fine by me. All right. Okay. Oh, man. Dude, I'm over this. My freaking nose is so clogged up right now. Jesus Christ. I probably won't be back live again until Sunday. Tomorrow, I'm going to a buddy's house for a cookout, and we're going to watch the UFC fights. I don't know if anybody here is a UFC fan, but if you are, well, that's where I'll be. So, but yeah, I'm gonna do this last draft here, and we'll see what happens. Reek. If I get Reek with this team, I'll be ecstatic. Because then I'm just gonna have to heavily stack Waddle and do all that, and I really don't want to do that. I'm just praying that Dre doesn't go Reek because this is a type of team where I would go Reek. Or this team. That would be another team where I'd most likely go Reek. I don't love that for me. So I guess we'll see what happens. That's not good. There goes Adams. Great. Oh, he didn't take Reek. Yes. We did it. He takes McBride Bowers. I don't know what he's doing, but yes. Thank you, most likely eating. You've saved the draft room. Very good. Take a little bit of Mike Evans on top of it. Get a little Bucky Mike Evans stack going here. Have a nice little sexy looking team here. Or JSN if we can get him, one of the two. 10 picks is not happening. Mike Evans is not happening. Get him out of your head. It's not happening. Okay. What else can we do? Neighbors is we could have went Bowers, but oh well. We could have went Neighbors Bowers. That would have been something for week 17. That would have been something. Obviously didn't do it, but could have, should have. Because the option was definitely there to do it. Instead, we took Bucky. If Mike Evans falls 6 picks here, I'll be shocked. It's not going to happen, but like I said, if he does, great. I'd be ecstatic if he did, but it's not. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Okay. So Daniels is off the board. This is where we could get a little creative and kind of sort of look at this again and say, okay, Buffalo, Cleveland, Carolina, Chicago, Miami, New Orleans, Dallas. I think we could get some fun pieces in this Green Bay Ravens game. I do. I truly think that. And play the Green Bay side of it, but I don't think we have to do it now. Oh, geez. Okay. We're gonna do Devontae Smith. I have a hard time not clicking Devontae Smith. Not a fan of Neighbors 1.5 point unless we get Dart earlier than expected. I don't even think we need Dart. I think Russell Wilson is a much better quarterback than any quarterback he had last season. And we saw what he did last season. So kind of helps his case for me. It does enough for me personally to say something to that effect. I still think we can get some pretty fun pieces. Where's Zay at? I know the Lamar owner's probably going to get pissed when I do this, but it's okay. I want to get some Ravens Green Bay pieces here to where we don't play it through Jacobs and we play it through still the Green Bay side, to where maybe it's like we take Tua and Love towards the end here. Where's the Lamar quarterback guy? Is he after me? Probably. Yeah. Yeah, he's going to be upset, but it's okay. I'm not a big Zay Flowers fan, but at this range where you're getting him as a receiver 4, the upside's definitely there. The spike weeks are there if you do get him there. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with taking that risk. Okay, well, looks like that's not happening. Okay. Ridley's the next guy on the board for me. Ridley's easily my next pick here. I'm not passing Ridley. Ridley's just too good. I don't care who he plays, like New Orleans, KC, Sam. That's fine. That's fine. We can get somebody from New Orleans, like Kamara or Olave. I'm okay with. I'm okay with taking either one. Godwin, I can stack up on that side and go Godwin, Bucky, and have Reek on the bring back. That's fine. That's cool with me too. There's a few options here we can do, so not too worried about it. See, like with taking Bucky this early, I don't feel like Bucky is a guy where you could just sit him like this and be fine. You know what I mean? I feel like Bucky needs more help than just one guy in the running back room, and he just goes too early to be able to do that and build a team out that I still like. That's just how I feel about Bucky. Damn, my fantasy baseball team did horrible tonight. Jesus. Pepio had 22 runs. Holy shit. Eovaldi didn't get to pitch very long. Cease pitched like crap. Henry, and oh my God. All right. Well, our pitching staff just went to crap there today. That's unfortunate. All right. So you have Olave, Godwin. We're probably going to go Godwin. Okay. We're not going to go Godwin. I lied. We are not going to go Godwin after the guy takes 4 running back ones, by the way. This is what I hate about people sometimes. So their logic just makes no sense. Okay, well, I guess we're going to go Olave and get on the other side of the Tennessee and play that out. Fun times. 4 running backs. Real fun times here. And not a one of them at a discount other than Gibbs. Okay, got it. All right, so we're just going to keep it pushing. We got 5 receivers and Bucky. We got Neighbors, Bucky, Reek, Devontae, Calvin Ridley, Chris Olave. Lots of good players here. So we're not playing the Green Bay. We're playing Miami. We're playing Tennessee. Oh boy. Tennessee and Miami, huh? That's rough. That is rough, ladies and gentlemen. Rough. Yo-ho, USA. Yo-ho, USA. All right. Give me a little bit of that Pollard action. Not a big Pollard guy, but it's not the worst pick in the world, I don't think. Ten picks away. There's still a not a high likelihood. Never mind. Not a high likelihood we get Josh Downs. Never mind. I thought that I was scrolled down a little bit and I just hadn't run into him. Nope, I'm wrong. Just say I didn't remember him being that low, but it's definitely not happening. Shit. I'm getting tired, fellas. I'm getting tired. Let's see. I mean, dude, Mahomes. Okay. I was going to say, I might have to. Dude, this is a stupid team. Okay. Some of these people just have really stupid teams. I'll take Diggs at 7 or 91, especially. Oh, Jesus. Okay. I'll take Diggs. Especially at this price. I'll take him. Yeah, I will 110% take him as a faller. That's kind of an easy pick for me. Let's go see if there's any spots where I'm up yet. Okay. There's not. Same here, struggling with multi-table. Yeah, I'm a little tired. I'm not gonna lie. I am a little tired. Getting this receiver room feels really good because you got what 3 guys at discounts, 4 guys at discounts. You got Reek at a small discount, Olave at a small discount, and Diggs at a pretty significant discount. So you got some discounts in there that I feel pretty good about. Oh shoot. I know who we're going to go with here in the next round. It's probably going to be running back, and it's probably going to be a guy I've clicked tonight already. So I'm just going to keep doing what I do. We'll queue a couple guys here just in case. But yeah, all right. Hopefully one of those 3 guys are coming back to me here. ETN off the board. That's kind of who I was hoping would come back to me, but it is what it is. We're going to go Evan and do we want to go Evan Ingram? Yeah, we're going to go Evan Ingram. No, we're not going to go Evan Ingram. We're going to wait on that. We're going to go Tracy. Yeah, we're going to go Tracy. And then we'll take maybe Jonnu next round. Yeah. That works. Okay. I like Tracy this year just as much. I don't think Scatabo is the starter this year. Maybe next year. I don't think he is this year. So we'll see, but I just don't see it. I do think waiting for quarterback is an easy thing to do, just to take 3 of them and keep it pushing. Like, if Tua stays healthy, he could easily compete with the QBs in this range, in my opinion. Caleb, Dak, Goff, like Tua staying healthy a whole year, that could literally be, like, he could easily compete with those guys, in my eyes. I mean, dude, we're looking at a huge tight end fall here. Evan Ingram and not Jonnu, but Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram at this price, I may just take for the uniqueness lever instead of Jonnu. Because Jonnu might be a very non-unique kind of pull here. Yeah, we're going to do it for the uniqueness lever. Go Ingram. Get him at a huge discount. I will happily take that. I think it's a very good discount for him. Now we really need to focus up here and make sure that, like, the quarterbacks we need are on tap and queued up. So we definitely need you. We definitely want you. I don't want him. Drake May's off the board. Philly gone. Neighbors is quarterback. We really don't want to buy that either. Oh, Bo Nix is gone. Is there anybody you can backstack? Lawrence and what's his name? You could backstack that and do these 3. You could do Lawrence and Britton Strange. That would work. Let's see. Yeah, that would work. I'm good with that. Never mind. Lawrence is gone. Warren. Let's just do that. Let's take a gamble on the Colts quarterback. I don't love doing that, but we're gonna do it anyway. Let's see. Probably gonna take a chance here and say it's A-Rich. I don't know, man. I really just don't know. Is it A-Rich or is it Daniel Jones? You know, like who's starting? I love looking this up because it's a different answer every day. It is a very, very different every day. Colt Daniels thought to be legitimate starter. Yeah, I don't know. It's different every day. I think if I had to choose today, it's Daniel Jones. But I could see where it's A-Rich still. Like I'd simply put don't know. I don't know that I want to take a total 0 at quarterback, especially in this room. You know what I mean? That to me isn't worth it. You could backstack Matthew Stafford and just totally avoid it as a whole. And just get Ferguson as a third tight end. I'm good with that. It's probably what I'm going to do, honestly. Receiver room is great. Your receiver room is fine. You don't have to get anybody else. You don't really need to get anybody else. So that's good. You could backstack Xavier Legette with Bryce Young. There's a lot of options here. But you want to make sure you get Tua here. Tua is the number 1 priority here. I don't know that any of these guys have Dolphins. I should have looked, but I'm just going to reach on them anyway and get them just to make sure I grab them. You might have been able to push it a little bit here because I don't think any of these guys have Dolphins. Yeah, you probably could have. Yeah, okay, he's got Johnny, but he's already got 2 QBs. He might have won him. I mean, you never know. You never know in these drafts what people are going to do. So I think you definitely take Matthew Stafford with the next pick, and then we go from there. We take Ferguson with the last pick. I'm just going to go ahead and cue that up. Favorite last round click. We don't need Strange in the queue. Legette's fine. I'm not a Penix fan, but I do think there's room for Penix and Pitts maybe. I'm not really a huge fan of it, but it's definitely something that could fruition. Okay, he takes Penix, so we don't got to worry about Penix now. Thank God. He takes Naked Penix, which is just weird, but okay. Stafford off the board. God damn it. That sucks. Okay. That kind of puts some foul play in my mouth. We're going to make sure we get Cam Ward. We're just going to make sure we get him. We're just going to make sure that we get Cam Ward and we keep it moving. Let's see. I need a cheap stack. I need something I can back stack here. Jones is not it. I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. Shuck, I don't want to do that either. So Bryce, that could be an option. Ferguson's still a good last round click. Oh God, this is gross. Okay, we're probably gonna go Fryer moves off the board. That's who we really wanted. Darnold doesn't really have anybody. Bryce Young is probably the best pick left. Bryce Young and Coker. Bryce Young and Tavion maybe. Where's Coker? Coker. Okay. We could do that. That works. Rodgers off the board. So Rodgers is off the board. We're just hoping Bryce falls at this point. That's what we're hoping. I think it's a very likely chance that it could happen. We get Bryce Young as a third quarterback. That'd be nice. That'd be real nice right about now. Not really my favorite pick, but it works nonetheless. It works. Okay, we're just going to do it. All right, so we got 3 quarterbacks. Bryce, Cam, and Tua. Who do the Panthers play? Seattle. Okay. Well, we don't really have any Seattle options here, but that's okay. We could go Jatavion Sanders. We need running backs. Pretty bad. Right, Daddle. Okay with either one of those guys. We can take Coker towards the end of the last round. I'm okay with that. Like I said, Coker's kind of a guy I like to pair with Bryce. I think I'm more of a Coker fan than I am a Leggett fan, but beggars can't be choosers at some points. I just can't get behind slapping Miles Sanders. I think we need somebody like Rico. It makes sense. Chuba gets hurt. We at least buy into an offense a little bit here. We're going to go ahead and do it. All right. I don't love this, but it's kind of how the board just fell. Unfortunately, it didn't fall great, but fell good enough to where we can maybe get some stuff here and get out of here with a decent team. So maybe, just maybe. If you guys are new here, once again, make sure y'all smack the like button, sub to the channel. We'll probably be back live again on Sunday evening, and then Monday, Tuesday. Probably be back live Tuesday again, probably every other day here for a little bit. And then I'm off work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for Independence Day, and kind of that weekend kind of deal. So we might be able to rip some drafts then too. Probably more so on drafters. We'll see. Kind of waiting on drafters to drop another contest for, honestly. Maybe like a $5 contest or something. Because Underdog right now is currently killing them in contests. They have the Superflex. The Eliminator I haven't really gotten in. The Pit Bull. I haven't done the Pit Bulls. $20 entries. See, I can swallow doing this for like 10 entries. I can swallow that and probably do those, but I'd only be able to do a couple of those. So, wouldn't be that many of those. Let's see. A day, anyways. Because of the volume, the money amount, but it is what it is. I'm not sponsored by Underdog, so it's kind of hard for me to get in volume like some of the guys do. But you got to start somewhere. Pitbull is a great alt to BBM. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it too. It's not a bad look. Okay, so Coker or Jatavion Sanders are probably next selections. We need a running back. I think Giddens makes sense. I also think Hill makes sense. We're gonna go Hill. I don't know why, but I just continue to click Hill. Hill is a guy we've seen a lot of things from that make a lot of sense to get points on the board. Terrence Ferguson at 189. Wow. Okay. I mean, I'm that high on him, but it's usually a last round click. Wow. Okay. Had fun drafting with you. Appreciate it, DS. Hope to see you back in more streams, man. Like I said, sometimes I stream on Twitch, so if you haven't followed over there, make sure you go follow over there. That's where I like to stream most of the time, but I'm trying to stream more on YouTube. I'm trying to get more thumbnails out there. That's kind of the holdup for me streaming on YouTube, is getting thumbnails out is just kind of not my cup of tea anymore. Used to be. I don't have Photoshop anymore, so it's kind of hard for me to get them out anyways. I found a free Photoshop worker, so it's kind of nice that I have that now, because I still have all my packs and stuff that I use for thumbnails. But trying to get those pumped out and go live and work and do all this other stuff, it's kind of like, it's for me. So it's challenging at times. It's challenging at times, to say the least. But yeah, I appreciate you coming through, hanging out tonight. I've been listening, just no time to chat. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I get it. Coker or Sanders? Well, I'm gonna say Jatavion Sanders because he's a little higher. In ADP. I think we could do it out Coker and get different options. We have AD Mitchell that I like. We have Wicks, Roman, Elick. There's a lot of guys here that we like. So, we could really buy into that offense and go Elick. Elick. I don't know how to say his name. I think it's Elick, but there's a lot of guys that we could go with. I was hoping somebody would have picked in here by the time this draft ended, but nobody's picked. So, a little bit rough. Oh, we got a lot of options at receiver for this last one. We got a good receiver room, though, I think. We got Nabe. Okay, so to repeat the team, we have Tua, Cam Ward, Bryce Young, Bucky Irving, Tony Pollard, Tyrone Tracy, Rico Dowdle, Justice Hill, Malik Neighbors, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Smith, Calvin Ridley, Chris Olave, Stephon Diggs, Evan Ingram, Tyler Warren, Jatavion Sanders. Probably going to get a 6th or 7th receiver. I don't know that we need another running. We kind of need another running back, though. We really need another running back, actually. I need somebody that can score. Maybe a Ty Johnson. Oh, this is nasty. Yeah, Ty Johnson's probably one of our better bets. Coker's off the board. Yeah. I think that's who we're going to go with. Or Ty Johnson. Or Samson. If Samson's there, we'll probably go Samson. 3663 Chef's Kiss. Here you go with your 3663 Chef's Kiss. Here you go. You love these 3663s. It is what it is for me. They are balanced, but like, yeah, they don't usually win things. Samson's one of my favorite clicks. We're just gonna click Samson. Keep it moving. All right, that's the end of that draft. Overall, not super bad. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me tonight. We did get in a bunch of slow puppies, or poodles. I mean, if you do it right like this one, yeah. I mean, the 3 quarterback room, you're hoping Tua stays healthy because if he does, he can compete with those guys that were taken in picks 10 to 15 probably. And you're hoping Ward and Bryce can one of them hit. We hope. Bucky is good. Pollard, Tracy, Dowdle, Justice, Sampson. You're just hoping you can get an RB2 out of that room. Malik Neighbors, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Smith, Ridley, Olave, and Diggs at a discount, I think is really good. And then your tight end room is pretty solid as well. But yeah. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Appreciate y'all hanging out tonight on a Friday night. It is Friday, so enjoy your Friday nights, early Saturday mornings, wherever you're at. So until next time, I am off here. Like I said, appreciate y'all hanging out, and I will catch you in the next one. Till next time, peace.